Netcasts you love.
From people you trust.
This is Twit.
Bandwidth for the Tech Guy is provided by CacheFly. CacheFly.com. Hi, this is Leo Laporte, and this is my Tech Guy podcast. This show originally aired on the Premier Networks on Sunday, March 8th, 2015. This is episode 1168. Enjoy. The Tech Guy podcast is brought to you by HipChat. Collaborate, save time, be more productive with your teams. HipChat is IM, video chat, plus file, code, and screen sharing all in one place. Invite your team members and get a free 30-day trial of the full version of HipChat at hipchat.com/techguy. And by Personal Capital. With Personal Capital, you get award-winning financial tools, unbiased advice, and a transparent view of all your investments. Best of all, it's free. To sign up, go to personalcapital.com/techguy. Well, hey, how are you today? Leo Laporte here, the Tech Guy. Time to I think I just channeled Ted Knight there. The Tech Guy. Time to talk computers, the internet. Hello, Mayor. Smartphones, home theater, 8888 Ask Leo. That's the phone number, 888-827-5536. I know, it's a lot of, it's 10 numbers. Hard to remember. Just remember 8888 Ask Leo. That's 88 keys on a keyboard, 88 keys on a, so think of two pianos and me. And I'm in the middle and you ask me a question. It's easy, see? The magic of mnemonics. This is the show where we talk about computers, the internet, smartphones, home theater, digital photography, anything with a chip in it. Our photo guru, Chris Marquardt, coming up in a couple of hours to talk. Let's see. I guess tomorrow's the big day. The Apple Watch finally will be revealed. We've seen a lot, of course. They showed us the Apple Watch in its entirety last fall, but we've been waiting for it to come out. And we don't know what the date will be, and more importantly, we don't know how much it'll cost. But I'm guessing. John Gruber, who is a Apple watcher, one might say an Apple fanatic, has put together his list. And a couple of things. First of all, there'll be 6 models. There's the Sport model. They call that Apple Sport Watch. Apple Watch, which is the middle model, and then Apple Edition, which is the model that you think you want but you can't afford because it's solid gold. Gruber's pointing out that this ceramic blend 18-karat gold that Apple's using is also made by Hublot. And those watches sell for, get ready, $20,000 to $50,000. 20 to 50. Yeah. We don't know how much the Apple Edition will cost, but I can't imagine Apple would come to the market with something like that. The people would just go crazy. We know the Sport Watch, the least expensive, would be $350, and that, like all the watches, comes in 2 sizes: 38 millimeters for the small boned, 42 millimeters for the manly big boned. Some speculation that even the sizes will have different prices. Maybe, it is a little more watch. You get 4 extra millimeters. That's that's a little more watch. Gruber, who's pretty good on this stuff, one almost might think he has a pipeline into Apple. Now, remember, Apple, I think, is in a situation where they want to set a higher price, and then when you hear the price, we'll all go, oh, that's true. They did this with the iPad. They kind of made sure that they made sure that everybody in the press was thinking $1,000 when the iPad was introduced in 2010. And then when Apple said it, when Steve Jobs said it starts at $499, everybody gasped. It's only $499. See, this is clever marketing. So I think that's why Apple's pushing this $10,000 price point. All they've said, though, is $349. That's for the Sport. Now, there's the Steel model. That's the one most people want. That's the one I want. That's the one you want. It's most people want that one, unless you're a sports person. If you're sporty, you don't mind having a little rubber band and the cheap watch that everybody will know and look at and go, oh, yeah, you got the cheap one. I'm a sporty person. That's why. Wasn't about the money. But most people will want the steel one. But the problem is each has a different band, and the bands might cost different amounts. Gruber says he's thinking the Apple Watch. Get ready. And maybe he's being fed a line by Apple so that when it does come out, you won't choke. He says $899 for the basic steel one with the classic buckle. You want that beautiful flowing Milanese metal, the loops, you know, that'll be $1,000. The leather loop, $12.99. The link bracelet, $15.99, and the space black steel link bracelet, $2,000. Would you spend $2,000 on a smartwatch that will be obsolete in a year? People spend $1,000 on an Apple iPhone. Now, he points out that the description of the link bracelet implies expense, implies cost. This is what Apple says about its link bracelet. Crafted from the same 316L stainless steel alloy as the case, the link bracelet has more than 100 components. The machining process is so precise, it takes nearly 9 hours to cut the links for a single band. Now how much would you pay? In part, that's because they aren't simply a uniform size, but subtly increase in width as they approach the case. Once assembled, the links are brushed by hand to ensure the texture follows the contours of the design. The custom butterfly closure folds neatly within the bracelet, and several links feature a simple release button, so you can add and remove links without any special tools. Now how much would you pay? This is a setup for expensive, don't you think? It sounds like a J. Peterman catalog description.
You did the perfect luxury sell
Luxury.
voice.
It is a luxurious watch.
Now
and
say
it's
Corinthian leather.
fine Corinthian leather. And it's only $2,000. Well, we don't know. Tomorrow we find out. There are lots of other things that the tech geeks in us want to find out. What the battery life, we don't know. We know it'll last all day because Tim Cook says it will. He also says he showers with it, which could be that he just gets a new one every time he gets out of the shower. I don't know. He is the CEO. Should be interesting. We shall see. It is a market that doesn't exist, and this is when it's interesting. When Apple enters a market, well, it's not exactly that it doesn't exist, but it's very analogous to the digital music player market when the iPod was introduced. It was there, people were making them, but they didn't sell very well because they weren't, they kind of weren't that well done. And Apple comes in with the iPod, and everybody goes, ooh, and buys it. Same thing with the iPad. We'd had tablets for 10 years. Microsoft had been pushing them since 2000. But when 2010 came along and Apple said, no, this is fine Corinthian leather. And then everybody said, ooh, and they all bought the iPad. So we're it's very analogous to that. Apple loves to come into a market that is, there, nascent, beginning, but not yet, Will you buy an Apple Watch? 8888 asked Leo. I guess I have to. And so really the question isn't will I, because I have to tell you about it. In fact, I'm wearing an Android Wear watch right now because I want to know about this whole idea of a smart device on your wrist and is it useful. And by the way, I will say I kind of like the Android Wear watch. It's not, if I forget my phone, if I go out the door and I get to work and I didn't bring my phone, my smartphone, I freak out. I'm like, I left like an arm behind, right? You have that experience? You leave your phone, it's like, oh no, the world's come. You leave your smartwatch behind, it's like, so what? So that tells me something. That doesn't, like, no big deal. I'll wear it tomorrow, or I won't. And I think that's the real problem with these, especially if they're expensive, is it's not like your left arm. It's more like a lock of hair or something like that. But so the question really, I know I'll get one. I don't know if I'll get the cheap one or if I watch, because I think I know I will. I'm going to be seduced. I am. By the machining process that's so precise it takes 9 hours to cut the links for a single band. 8888 asked Leo. We could talk about more prosaic stuff, like the $200 Windows laptop from HP, the Stream, that's really pretty good. Or the $89 Windows 8 tablet from Winbook. You know what? It's pretty good. or maybe your smartphone, whatever's on your mind. 8888 Ask Leo. And the website, techguylabs.com. And next week, if I'm wearing a shiny watch with links that subtly increase in width as they approach the case, well, you'll know. I'm a sucker. 8888 Ask Leo. Get on the horn. Heather Hammond, the phone ranger, will answer, and we'll take your call next on The Tech Guy Show. Fine Corinthian leather, the custom butterfly closure, folds neatly within the bracelet. Now I really want one.
I don't think it's going to be next week.
Oh, it won't be. I know, I was joking. It won't be next week. But the punchline isn't as good if I say it. And in 4 weeks, if you see me wearing it. So next week. No, only you were thinking like that. No, they said April, so.
I just, because this does sleep, this is fine.
You leave that on all day. And how much battery life do you get on your Flex?
It's like a week.
A week?
Yeah, this is a Surge.
Surge.
Yeah.
Oh, you have the Surge.
Yeah,
The blue, is it the blue Surge? No, it's the black Surge.
it's not the HR. There's another Surge that has...
So supposedly the Apple Watch is constantly taking your heart rate, like always. So you can say at any time, well, how's it been?
except when you're sleeping. Except while
Right,
it's
because you have to
charging,
charge it.
Which, so that's the advantage of this. 'cause-
Maybe I'll just put the little MagSafe adapter just like in there. Jam it in there.
At least you can't choke yourself with it.
It just pops right off. I missed your coffee. I had to make my own yesterday.
I'm sorry.
Oh, but there's nothing like John's coffee.
No one
So this
even
is working
tried.
great, by the way. This is really working
That's
great.
awesome.
I just love this thing.
Good work. Good work.
Now what?
That's your app, huh?
That's
your
my little app,
Android
my little dumb Android app. I didn't even bother to I was gonna put buttons along the bottom, one for each, so you could set the length of the segment. It's just for me. I don't care.
What did you do to your bobblehead? Where's the
Oh,
arm?
Burke, I'm so glad you're here.
What?
The arms fell off.
They don't fall off.
Well, yes, they did, because what was connecting them through the body was a rubber band that the rubber died. So I knew that, Burke, you would come to my rescue. And so you just fish this through here, and then you need to have some sort of rubber band attaching them again.
Have the technology.
I thought you might. You want it? You want the arms? The spring is still here, but yeah, bro. There were two little, and the rubber just decomposed, like in that Michael Crichton Andromeda strain. The rubber just fell apart. Yeah, darkroom timer clocks. I used to, every radio station I worked in when I first started in radio had darkroom timer clocks. But that's not as useful. Because what this does, see, is this knows, it tells me by the color what I'm doing. So blue means I'm in a commercial break. And then how much is left in that. And then when the segment begins again, it goes green and starts counting down from the total length of the segment in seconds. Oh, thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
I'm not going to ask you what you want for lunch.
No, because I got breakfast. That smells good. Mr. Haney. I like Mr. Haney. So I can tell exactly where I am. I don't even have to. Yeah, Gray Lab. Yeah. Used to use those in the darkroom. I have not had any fan noise problems at all. But maybe I'm not doing heavy-duty stuff. The name of the developer? Leo Laporte. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. 8888 Ask Leo. That's the phone number. Heather Hammond, the phone ranger, is here. Good to see you, H.
Good to see you.
We have calls from all over the country. No, we don't. All California except for one.
It does look like all California.
Yeah. 8888 Ask Leo. But you know, the people in Brooklyn are just freezing. They're too cold to call.
They tried to, but their finger went
dialing
over to the
fingers
other number.
are numb.
And so they're calling some other
They're
show.
numb.
Who should not getting any tech help whatsoever.
Who should I start with?
Well, let's go to Louisiana and talk to Jacob in Denham Springs.
There you go. I saw L.A. I thought Los Angeles. No, Louisiana. Hi, Jacob. Leo Laporte, the tech guy.
Hello.
Welcome.
I just want to say that I'm a big fan. My dad has watched you since back in Tech TV days, and then I started about a year ago, so big fan.
Hey, nice. Say hi to your dad for me. Do you think, now, Jacob, so how old are you?
I'm 14.
You don't wear a wristwatch, and nobody you know wears a wristwatch, I bet, right?
I actually have an LG watch.
Oh, you do? You have the Android Wear watch.
I do.
That's a nice one. I like round. But so that's interesting. You're in what, 8th grade?
I'm a freshman this year.
Ninth grade. Okay. Your peers, or I guess if you wear a wristwatch in 9th grade, it's more like a statement, like I'm retro or something, or I'm a geek, right? I mean, do your peers wear wristwatches?
Sort of. We have I would say about like a fourth people wear them.
Okay.
But I find it really interesting because I do see about 3 or 4 smartwatches on a daily basis.
See, I feel like Apple, I think the smartphone was what took the wristwatch off our wrist, because we always have a phone that tells us what time it is. And so Apple's kind of going upstream now, saying, oh, no, put that watch back on. What is it? Do you like wearing an Android Wear smartwatch? Do you like it?
I do enjoy it. At school, we're not supposed to have our phones, right?
Ah, this is it. So you could put the phone in the backpack.
Exactly.
And you can kind of know what's going on.
So that if I need to be picked up for something after school, I just say, okay, Google, text mom.
Text mom, pick me up.
I need picked up, or something like that.
See, that is really useful.
I use it for that a lot.
I think that's really useful. All right. Okay. So that's the thing, is Apple has to convince you, as you know, Android Wear, they only sold about 720,000 in a year. It didn't sell, which is not what Apple has made, according to the rumors, over 5 million Apple Watches for day one. So Apple really has to establish a need to wear these. But notice they're really focusing on style. They're really fashion. So if you wear an Android Wear watch, it's not too geeky. I mean, yours, the LG, is round, has a nice bezel. It looks like a regular wristwatch. It doesn't look too geeky.
Yeah, and then my sister actually has the Moto 360. So
wow, so that's what I'm wearing. Wow, you have a very techno family. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to quiz you, Jacob, but I'm just curious what the young people are doing. What can I do for you today?
So I have 2 questions. My first one being, come towards the end of March, I get to upgrade my phone. And I was wondering what your recommendation would be. I've been looking at the Droid Turbo as the main one I'm looking at getting.
So you're on Verizon?
I am.
Yeah, I have a Droid Turbo. The nice thing about the Turbo is it's got a big battery, which makes it a little bit chubby. It's kind of a chubby little phone. But I think it's a nice phone. The problem is, this bugs the heck out of me. A lot of these guys, they put big batteries in, and then they say, oh, now we have lots of battery, so let's make the screen super high resolution, and then you've negated the value of a bigger battery, and it still doesn't quite get through the day, and the Turbo's kind of like that. It has a beautiful Quad HD screen, but that drains battery like crazy. I think it's a nice phone. Verizon didn't lard it up too much with Verizon stuff. It has the Moto stuff, which I really like. For instance, it will know, you can have it know that you're in school and just silence itself automatically during school hours.
Yeah, I have a Moto X right now. So.
Oh, you understand. So it brings the Moto X capabilities forward, and then has much better battery life, and that's really the main thing about the Droid Turbo. Now, there's some new phones coming that are going to be very intriguing. The Mobile World Congress was this week.
Yeah.
And HTC announced the successor, the third HTC One. That's confusing. But the HTC One is beautiful. They haven't really improved it hugely, but it's a lovely phone. But I got my eyes on the Galaxy S6. Samsung really blew it with the S5. Nobody bought it relatively for Samsung, only a few million. And Samsung really needed to do something great. And I think the S6, now I haven't held it yet, but I think the S6 is going to be a very intriguing phone. Really good camera and so forth. So camera on the Android Turbo is less inspiring.
Yeah, the reason why I wasn't quite looking at something like the Note 4 or the new Galaxy S6 is because I don't care for skins, the TouchWiz and whatnot.
I agree, and they've really I hate TouchWiz. And the nice thing about Motorola is it's very clean. It's almost a pure
That's why I was looking at the Turbo.
Yeah, my Turbo has not yet been updated to Lollipop, but I wonder if the ones they're selling today are the latest version of Android.
If they are not yet. My dad has one.
Very frustrating. Oh, well, you have some experience then. What kind of battery life is Dad getting?
By the end of the day, he says he typically has, what does he say, about 30% left?
That's enough. It's a little scary because you can't, unlike the Galaxy, you can't take the battery out and put a new one in. I use the Note 4 right now, and that's the main reason is because I have 2 batteries. So come the end of the day when I'm down to 12%, pop off the back, put the new battery in, and back to 100%. I love that. I would look at the Note 4, especially for a student, because you could take notes on it. It's got a nice big screen. It really will double for a tablet almost. And
well, I have a Nexus 7, so I don't really.
All right. Get the I can see you are set. Your heart is set, Jacob, on the Android Turbo. I would get that.
The only other thing I was looking at possibly getting is waiting for the Nexus 6 on Verizon.
Yeah, I have a Nexus 6. It's disappointing.
So,
it's a disappointing phone. It's pure Google. It's the only thing going for it. Nothing else. It's sad because it's, Google sells this Nexus line, or they have been up to now, as a pure, it's a reference really for what Google wants Android phones to look like. Pure, simple. It's like Microsoft has this signature PC thing. Here's a pure version of Windows, because both Google and Microsoft hate what the other companies are doing to their perfect little jewel of an operating system. They're putting stuff on top of it. But I have to say, Samsung is learning their lesson, and they have done less and less to update, to change Android. And the Galaxy S6 looks pretty clean. Now, that's going to be available 1 month from now, April 10th. Might be very expensive. They didn't announce pricing. But if you could wait a month, I would look at that, because I agree with you about TouchWiz. The Note 4 is much cleaner. That came out in September, and I think this S6 will be cleaner still. And I don't know if a camera is important to you, but the camera is superlative on the Galaxy Note 4, and I expect even better on the S6. Hey, Jacob, great to talk to you. Good luck in your future endeavors, and keep listening. Let me know what phone you get. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. More calls right after this. Oh yeah, now that may be interesting. You're right. When Google launches its, we'll talk about that when we get back. Google's launching its own cell phone carrier. Oh, I love it. HipChat. Sound like Mrs. Doubtfire. Oh, HipChat's great. Oh, you love it. We love it here. We use it all the time. HipChat is a way to keep teams collaborating, communicating, working together, and having fun together. And that's exactly how we use it. I mentioned we first saw HipChat when we started the web redesign process, because the team in Austin, that's what they use. And they said, okay, get on HipChat, join us. And it's been great. So if they have a question, boom, they do it in HipChat. And I keep HipChat running on everything. Works on OS X, works on Windows, works on Linux, works on most mobile devices. And if you're on a Chromebook, you can, or something that doesn't have a HipChat app, just use the browser integration. It's great. HipChat's more than just instant messaging, though. No. Oh, you get all sorts of stuff. Video chat, document sharing, screen sharing, code sharing. It integrates with 57 different services. So that means you can, as a developer, or, our engineering department uses it. It's just really fantastic. GitHub, Jira, Zendesk. It brings your entire team together, and it has a sense of fun, too. emojis and bots and animated GIFs and Instagram feeds and all sorts of stuff. So it's a way for people to stay in touch, to get work done, to be effective, and to have a good time too. I love it. I love it. We liked it so much when we started using it with Four Kitchens, and now we're using it in engineering. We use it in sales. I want you to try it free. Actually, HipChat, there is a freemium version you can use free forever, but I'm talking about the full version of HipChat for the next 30 days. Go to hipchat.com/techguy. Oh, this is important, by the way. HipChat is completely secure, so you never have to worry about snoops. You're 256-bit SSL encryption all the time. And they have secure guest access, too, so you can bring in clients, and they see just what you want them to see, not anything more. This is just so cool. 30 days free, hipchat.com/techguy. Just sign up, click on the Start Chatting button, then invite a few team members. First 100 people who do this right now, we're going to extend that 30-day free offer to 90 days free. Full HipChat for 90 days free. I think you'll really like it. We keep it open all the time. Lots of companies use HipChat now. I know friends, who use HipChat. It's cool. hipchat.com/techguy. Try it free today. Well, a couple of things about the Nexuses. First of all, they're not giving you a price break anymore. So you're paying for a full-priced Android phone, high-end, phone, and I don't think its screen isn't as good as the Note 4, not even close. It's really big, 6 inches, just a little too big. Battery life, uninspiring, not terrible, probably on a par with the Turbo. It's just not, it's very dull. Crap camera, slow crap camera. I have gone back, I was carrying it for a while. I really wanted to like it. I went back to the Note, believe it or not. Camera's faster. The quality of the camera is 10 times better. With an SD card, I could put all my Audible books, gigabytes worth, on an SD card. Doesn't clog up the thing. Removable battery is huge. I'm going to miss that in the S6. Every time you stare at Heather, you hear a whistle. They're hearing a whistle. It's probably a whistle in his head. He's whistling in his head. Yeah, I know what it's supposed to do, and those are all rumors, so let's see what it does. But I agree, that's an interesting idea from Google. Let's see how it works. Fixed it already?
Well, he's had a stroke.
The bobble's,
Can't raise his arms that much.
the bobble's back, baby. Why can't he raise his arms anymore?
He had a stroke, Burke said. That's funny.
I didn't really raise his arms much anyway.
Well, then he's fine.
The arms were not, he can raise them enough.
He's posable. He's just a little stiff.
We're all getting on.
So does Bobblehead.
I'm no spring chicken myself.
You know the whole elephant thing last week? They're phasing out elephants with Barnum and Bailey.
They're phasing out elephants.
Phasing them out altogether. With the Ringling, Ringling.
They should.
Circus.
That's cruel.
I can't believe they can't do it sooner, but by 2018, apparently.
Well, they probably have to figure out what to do with them, right?
Yeah,
you can't just release them into the wild.
I think they should. Just stampeding down the street. But I heard this great piece this morning on how that all started. And I missed the very beginning.
How the elephants started?
Just circuses in general.
Oh, circuses. How did they start?
Bailey somehow was like, man, this elephant could, do a lot more than my team of oxen. So, like, in the 1800s, he had an elephant plowing his field, wherever that was. I forget the details.
What the heck?
Right.
So he was just a farmer?
Yep. And people came from far and wide to look at his elephant. And he was like, wait a minute, I could make more money showing this elephant around than plowing these here fields. So he started touring, and he'd only walk with his elephant at night so no one got a free sneak peek. And then he added the other things like clowns and whatnot and started what we know as the modern-day circus, I guess.
Wow.
It's just really interesting if you get a chance to, read up
What
and
a
listen to that.
story.
Yeah.
Leo Laporte, the tech guy, built to perform technology miracles at 88 88 Ask Leo. Jose is next in Rialto, California. Hi, Jose.
Good morning. How you doing today, Leo?
I'm well. How are you?
I am doing peachy. I have a two-part question, pretty simple questions. One, is there any way I can force a Lollipop update on my S5, seeing as AT&T only just released 4.4.4 KitKat?
I want to force a... Yeah. So this is one reason I like Android. You can... I mean, it's for the experts. I'm not recommending everybody do this. If you can follow the instructions, you can do it. You can what we call root it, which is really very simple. And Google actually encourages this, although some manufacturers don't. Samsung sometimes gets in the way of this. Sometimes your phone company gets in the way of this. But if you go, there's a website you should go to, xda-developers.com. xda-developers.com. It is where people with Android phones go, and it's where all the Android experts are. You'll look up your handset, and not just Galaxy S5, but the actual model number. It has to be that specific. There are many different models of the Galaxy S5. And then it will give you instructions for rooting it. Rooting means simply you're going to be an administrator. You're going to have super user privileges. Normally on a phone you don't have that because it's risky, and most people shouldn't, because they could, that gives you the power to do things like make your phone useless. So it kind of works out that if you can figure out how to root it, you're probably safe to root it. But Google says, no, Android's designed to be rooted. We just don't, just like with any operating system, you don't want to start with administrator privileges. Now, once you've rooted it, the next step is to replace what they call the recovery software. That's like the BIOS. That's the thing that starts up when the phone starts up, with a custom recovery, Clockwork Mod or Torp. There are others, but those are the two big ones. That custom recovery then says, you can do whatever you can use any firmware you want. You're basically turning your smartphone, which is dumb the way it comes, very limited, into a real computer that you can now, as your administrator, you can change what operating system it runs. Now, of course, you can run all sorts of weird Android variants, but one of them is certainly going to be Lollipop. It might be CyanogenMod 12. It might be, somebody might have done one specifically for the Galaxy S5. And so, but remember, there's a risk here that you could make the phone unusable. Your phone company, bricking is the word, yeah, because it's as useful as a brick. Maybe even less so, because it won't hold up in a door and you can't throw it through a window very well. But yeah, you make it useless, and so that's always the risk. But if you follow the instructions and you don't take shortcuts and you really read them carefully, and you just be careful about how you do it, it's actually a fairly safe procedure. I've only bricked one phone in my life.
Okay.
And it was a Windows phone, not an Android phone.
My second question, I need to get a new tablet for my daughter because she's been seeing my wife with her tablet. I got her a Samsung Galaxy Tab 3.
Nice.
But I don't want to get that for my daughter.
Too fancy. Yeah,
it seems too much for her.
You know what I would look at? Amazon has Kindles for kids. They even have a free year replacement program. So if the kid throws, because I think it's encased in hard rubber, so the kid throws it across the room and breaks it, they give you a new one, and it's cheap.
Okay.
It's Android, but it's Android with the Fire OS, Amazon's special operating system on top of it. But I think that's fine for kids. How old is she?
She's actually turning 8 tomorrow.
Perfect. They have lots of there's a kids mode. There's lots of kids games. If she, Netflix you can watch Netflix. You can watch. It's really great for consuming media, of course, because that's what Amazon wants you to do is buy movies and books from Amazon. But and they're cheap. So it's if you go to look at the Fire, Amazon, they don't call it Kindle Fire anymore. It's just Fire, and I think it might say Fire for Kids or something like that. But on the Amazon page they'll describe that. And I love the replacement guarantee. I'm not sure exactly what the deal is on it. I mean, it seems like that's too good to be true. You just give me a free one, even if the kid, smashes it with a hammer? Yep. Wow. So I haven't really investigated that deal, but boy, that's a good deal. So yeah, Amazon is, I think, really they subsidize these basically. In fact, I think Jeff Bezos, the CEO of Amazon, even said, we don't make money on the tablet. We make money when you use the tablet. They want you to buy these tablets and then buy stuff from Amazon. So they don't need to make money. And this is actually one of the challenges for companies like Samsung and Apple that don't. They have to make money on the sale of the thing. Just looking, the Fire HD6 just came out for $99. I mean, that's cheap enough. It might be a good kid thing anyway. But where is the? I wonder if that kid deal is gone. And it comes in a variety of colors and capture life's moments. Great for the whole family. Share content with your family. 5,000 kid-friendly titles. Free time unlimited is what Amazon calls that. But I don't. Maybe they've stopped giving away the kid version. That was too good to be true, wasn't it? Check it out anyway. It's certainly, even if they don't give you a free one if the kid breaks it, it's still a good deal. Thanks, Jose. Bill in Carlsbad, California. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Hi, Bill.
Hi, Leo. Thank you for taking the call.
Faraday
Really
Cage in the
enjoying
chat room
show.
says it's still there and they replace it for 2 years. 2 years. So that's a good deal. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Anyway, it's a joy to talk with you. You are such a rare combination of a geek who knows how to communicate with us non-geeks. Thank you for doing such a great job.
Thank you. They're very kind. That's kind of my motivation. I think everybody should get to use technology.
I do too, and I'm having trouble with my technology.
Okay.
I recently purchased an iPhone 6 after having the 5 and the 4. I've always been pleased, but there are 2 issues I've found with the 6. The first one is I like to use Google Calendar to schedule everything on my PC, and it automatically goes to my iPhone 6. When I had the 5, I had no problem. All I did is go push on the icon for Google Calendar on the iPhone 5, and it would go there. But now, when I push it on the 6, it goes to something called GoogleAccounts.com, and it wants me to re-enter my email address and passcode, and that is a royal pain.
No, you don't want to do that each time. So what you want to do is go to Mail, Contacts, and Calendars in Settings on your iPhone, and add your Google account to that.
Okay.
And that once you add that, it will say, okay, which Google things do you want me to sync with? Mail, Contacts, Calendar, and I don't know what else. There may be other things as well. And so check Contacts and Calendar, and from then on, you should never be asked again. So
that's awesome.
Yeah, so you have to set, and I think probably what happened is you forgot that you set up your iPhone 5 that way. And
well, to be truly honest with you, I had someone else set it up for me.
So that's what they did. So you go in Settings, if you scroll down a bit, you'll see Mail, Contacts, Calendars, and that lets you add an account, and that's where you want it. You could add also a Microsoft Exchange account. If you used Exchange Mail or Outlook, you can add a Yahoo, AOL. But you're going to want to add the Google account. You'll just use your Google credentials, and from then on, it will automatically sync even your Gmail if you wish.
That's terrific.
All right.
Second question on the iPhone 6.
Yes, sir.
I'm having some volume issues with not only the speaker, because I'll put it on my dash when I'm driving and talking to somebody. Not only me, but other people are having volume issues as well. I have 2 good friends. We haven't seen each other for months, and they said, my iPhone 6, we have to put it on speaker to put it near our ear to hear. And I've gone to Apple. In fact, they replaced the phone. The issue still happens, and it also happens with a wired headset.
So you've turned it up all the way, and you can hear it, but you just can't hear it loudly enough. I wonder if it's broken, or maybe, as we all do, you're going a little deaf. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Let me look into it. Yeah, and another good tip, if you turn on iCloud Backup, your settings for Google and everything will be backed up, so when you go to the iPhone 7, it will just automatically take that with you. Anybody in the chat room, yeah, I am sweating. I'm wearing a sweater, and it's, my God, 71 degrees in here. AC is blowing, so maybe it'll... So anybody in the chat room know about this iPhone volume issue? The iPhone only has one little bass speaker. But he says it even happens when he has earbuds in. I mean, one thing you could do with earbuds is have a headphone amp in between the iPhone and your earbuds. Do you ever notice that your iPhone, it's hard to hear?
iPhone sucks.
Lisa says her iPhone sucks.
I don't know if it's Verizon or what, but it's hard to hear. Like,
You don't. So I know people can't hear you, but when you're listening on your phone, do you have a hard time? No, you listen in bed and, to your books on your phone.
No, it's fine for that. But my internet is absolute crap now since I got my new iPhone.
Oh, the 6 does it, but the Plus, and you have a Plus, does not apparently.
My 6 Plus is just terrible.
See, I have a 6 at home, and I haven't. Thank you, dear.
I don't like it.
Haven't noticed that.
All I know is I'm not happy. I want to take it back to Apple and see if there's a problem.
Yeah, everybody should just get an Android phone. No, just kidding. In fact, once I buy an Apple Watch, I'm going to have to carry an iPhone, right? There is a setting. On some phones, there's a setting that sets a safe volume. This is to protect kids. And I wonder if Apple's implementing that. When I try to turn up volume on my Android phones, and actually I think this happens on the iPhone too. It says, "Now come on, now you don't really want to turn it that loud. That's bad for your hearing." Yeah, and I haven't noticed it. I wonder if it's a hardware issue. Yeah, I don't know. Samsung pushed Lollipop on the Note 4. Yay. I haven't unlocked Note 4. I mean, I unsubsidized. Let me see if I can get it. That would be nice. Last check, March 1st. Let's check now. Software update. Checking for updates. Checking, working. The latest updates have already been installed. Not the one, this is not the update you're looking for. Well, but maybe in some countries they're pushing it out. I'm still Kit Kat. Kit Kat, or no, not Kit Kat. Jelly Bean? JK? No, Kit Kat is before Lollipop. It's alphabetical. Simply Whale says, I have the same problem on my iPhone 6 Plus. It's just not loud enough. Headset plug lowers the volumes by 25%. Volume limit is off by default on iPhone 6, but there is a setting. Where is the volume limit setting on the iPhone? This is an AT&T. I mean, it's on AT&T, but it's a unlocked. It's a whatchamacallit. I think it's unlocked. Yeah, this is a. Will I be working on Sunday the 22nd? Yes, I will. Moto E is great for the price. Leo Laporte, the Tech Guy, 8888. Ask Leo the phone number. The website, techguylabs.com. If you hear something or you want to make a note of something, you don't have to. Just go to techguylabs.com, and we have trained professionals writing it all down. And in fact, even better, after the show, audio and video from the show is up on the site, so you can watch and listen. And comment if you have something to add. In fact, I'd love it if you'd comment on this issue of the iPhone 6. Some people are saying my iPhone 6 is plenty loud enough. I have not noticed an issue with my iPhone 6. Some are saying, oh yeah, I've had that problem. There is a setting under music, I'm told, for the maximum volume level on the iPhone. It's called Sound Check. Is that it? No, maybe not. Volume limit. There you go. It's off by default, but maybe your volume limit got turned down at some point. So I would check that. So you go to Settings, Music, and there's a volume limit setting, which is a slider, and you could say, hey, don't go louder than this. And that's for kids. That's because, in fact, I'm surprised Apple defaults to full volume, because most phones now, when you turn them up too much, will warn you. They'll say, oh, no, unsafe. If you listen at this level for too long, you're going to hurt your hearing. And that's because everybody's become very worried about the level, the volume level coming through headphones, especially for young people. And kids, see, I know my son Henry, 20 years old, he's invulnerable. I know exactly what he does when he sees that warning. He says, yeah, whatever, and turns it up. Because that's what I did when I was his age, and I completely damaged my hearing permanently by going to loud rock concerts and sitting right up next to the speaker. I love that. Heather's nodding. What? What? Did you say something? You have that same thing? Yeah. So I'll tell you right now. Don't do it, kids. It's the same thing about your knees. You don't know what you got till it's gone. So protect your ears and your knees and your back. And don't smoke. And wear sunscreen, okay? Take it from me. David in Hollywood, Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Hi, David.
Hi, Leo. Good morning.
Good morning.
Long time with our first-time caller here.
Well, welcome.
Thank you. Love the show. Well, I'm going to start off here. I'm not embarrassed to say it, but I don't have a smartphone. And I'm using an iPod Touch 4th generation to pretty much say I have, that.
You know what? You have everything except a phone in that. That basically is, it's kind of an older phone. I would guess it's more like a 4S, if I would say equivalency. It's running an A5 processor. It's a little slower than the current processors, so forth. But
it seems like it's getting slower and slower.
Yeah.
And my main issue, though, is I'm running into issues on my apps. For instance, I wanted to order a pizza last night, so I clicked my pizza app, and it tells me that I need iOS 7 to run the app.
You're still on 6.
I guess there's no updates on my in the software settings, and it's just annoying because it loops me back to the beginning of the app. And
well, this is Apple's forced obsolescence, isn't it?
Well, have we heard anything about a new iPod?
No. You know what? I think it's safe to say at this point, with Apple's gone 2 years without updating the iPod. In fact, the only thing they've done is taken one off the market, the iPod Classic. I think it's safe to say there will never again be a new iPod.
Oh, don't tell me that.
Apple is just, look at, they sold 75 million iPhones in the last 3 months of 2014. The iPod is such a small part of their business at this point. There's no reason for them to put any resources into it. I agree with you. I'd love to see updated iPods, but it ain't going to happen.
Great. Well, I guess, my CDMA phone, it might be seeing the end of its life here, unfortunately.
It's time to get an iPhone. You know what? You're going to love it because it's the same thing as your iPod Touch with a phone. It's got a phone in it.
I like to talk on the phone, and these phones are just so big, and they get...
Yeah, you can, and I think this is what people who have iPod Touches and want to update them are doing. You can buy an iPhone and just not activate it, so you don't pay the data charges. Go online, go to Gazelle.com or somewhere and get an iPhone 5 or 5S and unactivated. Don't put a SIM chip in it, and you'll still be able to use it. It might bug you once in a while, saying, "Hey, you never activated me." But in every respect, it's the same as an iPod Touch, except it's more modern. It can run the new iOS 8 and all of that. And yeah, you're going to see that more and more. Apps just not working unless you have the latest version of the operating system. That's because they add capabilities in the new versions, and the app developer says, "Boy, I'd love those capabilities." And they don't want to, and Apple may not even let them keep 2 versions on the store. Oh, here's the one for you old folks, and here's the one for new stuff. I bet you Apple doesn't even allow that because Apple really wants you to buy a new phone.
Seems like it, and I refuse. If I would have to tell you what I
is it because you're cheap? Yeah. So you're.
If I was to tell you what I pay a month just to talk and text unlimited, it would just blow the roof off.
Oh, what are you paying? You can't.
I have Metro, and I pay $25 a month.
That's great.
And I use their Metro Connect, which is the back end of Verizon. So if I did go to the mountains or somewhere out of range, it picks up Verizon's towers, and I do pay 10 cents a minute to talk. But I still think if I talk, an hour, I pay $6. It's not a big deal.
Now, I have to point out that, for instance, T-Mobile offers a smartphone plan for $30 a month that has very limited talk time, 100 minutes, but unlimited data and texting. And this is kind of aimed at the young folks who don't talk on the phone anymore. Somebody's telling me that you can get a newer iPod Touch that will run the latest version of the operating system. So while they haven't really updated the hardware significantly, if you're willing to spend $199, you can get one that will run iOS 8.
Interesting, and I didn't know that.
I didn't know that either. I was mistaken. What Apple's doing is they're keeping it limping along, doing the minimum updates they can to keep people like you happy. So for $200 and no data charge, you can get the new iPod Touch, and it will run iOS 8. So there you go.
Great, Leo. Thanks again.
You're welcome. Still a 4-inch display. You know, you'd be going to a much bigger display with an iPhone, but I think ultimately you want to get an iPhone. And again, if you got an iPhone and you went to T-Mobile, that $30 plan, it's hard to find. It's on their website at the bottom of the page, and they don't promote it because they don't want anybody to have a $30 a month plan. But it's a good deal. And I have some of my employees, because I don't pay them very well, some of my employees have that. 100 minutes of talk time a month. Nowadays, I hardly ever use the phone, and if I do, it's quick. I don't spend a long time on the phone anymore. In fact, if I call my mom and we'll talk for an hour, but I use FaceTime, so it's using Wi-Fi. It's not using minutes, and it's not using data. It's just FaceTime. And even if I were using FaceTime on the T-Mobile system with unlimited, I presume it's really unlimited. They've been getting in trouble for calling it unlimited when it's not, but I presume it's really unlimited. 8888 ask Leo. Yeah, the new Touch has a camera. That's right. They've added a very terrible camera. Jason, Orange County, Leo Laporte, the tech guy.
Hey, Leo, how are you?
I'm well. T-Mobile through Walmart. Somebody in the chat room says $35 unlimited everything. Nice deal. That must be the Straight Talk thing. What can I do for you, Jason?
Leo, I am a serial entrepreneur, and one of my businesses is becoming more dominant than the other. I have been a PC user for 20 years. My other business, which is now moving forward at a more rapid rate, it looks like I'm going to be wanting to go to Apple.
Is this for yourself or for your business, the things you...
Well, it's for my business. I am the business. There are no employees.
Okay.
But I do editing of video. And typically, like right now, when I go out and I do a pitch, I take my laptop, which is a PC laptop with me. What I really want to do is just have one computer that I can do everything on. I have a desktop and a laptop now. It's on its last legs, which is really the reason why I'm wanting to make this change.
If you're inclined, and a lot of video editors use Macs, if you're inclined, I'd take a look at it. Apple has, of course, comes with the iMovie program, which is very basic, but can do most of what many people want to do. And then if you want something more powerful, Apple does offer at a fairly good cost. I can't remember, it's under $200, I think $199, Final Cut Pro. And that's the king of video editing programs. So I think, truthfully, Mac or PC, video editing is the same on both. In fact, most everything's the same on both. But Apple's are more elegant. I see no reason not to switch. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. I think it's a terrible camera. It's 5 megapixel. Excuse me. I really think that Apple does not value the iPod market. I have the hiccups. Yesterday's tech guy is up already, I think, Dr. Mack. Usually it's about the length of time of the show. So a 3-hour show would be available 3 hours after the show, roughly. Put it out as quickly as we can. That's the 5th gen iPod Touch is the bomb. Okay. If you think it's the bomb, more power to you. It's 5 megapixels. I guess that's okay. It's okay. It's an eyesight camera. That's always that word is a bad word. Advanced optics. It's our best camera ever. I think you'd get better results with a smartphone, but here, let me give you the link in the chat room to the, if I can find it, T-Mobile $30 plan. It is a pay-as-you-go. It is not a let's see, T-Mobile. And then I think it's at the very bottom of the page here. Boy, maybe they don't do it anymore. Maybe they just hide it. Maybe you have to go to the prepaid. There you go. You go to prepaid plans. There you go. And you scroll down. You see 40, 50, 60. That's the one they want you to see. But if you scroll down to, oh, wait a minute. There we go. Really close. That one. This plan is only available for devices purchased from Walmart or devices activated on T-Mobile.com. So you could get any device you want. And only 5 gigs unlimited data at 4G speeds. Notice they've changed the language there. But I think that's a good deal. So that's the way to get that is to T-Mobile.com, go to plans, and then you're looking at the prepaid plans. And when you get to prepaid, you scroll way down to the bottom of the fine print. Or you go to Walmart. Our show today brought to you by Personal Capital. Personal Capital, I love Personal Capital. You know what? Have I talked to you about Personal Capital? I met the guy who started it a couple of years ago. He came actually and did a show with us, Bill Harris. He's an interesting fellow. He founded PayPal with Elon Musk. He and Elon Musk. He was a CEO at Intuit, and he was kind of casting around for the next thing. He didn't talk much when we had this interview, but he said as he was leaving, "Hey, I just started this new company. It's called Personal Capital. You ought to give it a try." I said, "Okay." Logged into personalcapital.com/techguy. That's where you'll be going. You give it your accounts, and now suddenly you got a financial dashboard. I've been using it for a couple of years. It's awesome. That shows you exactly where your money is, what it's doing, what your net worth is. You can use it to budget. But here's something cool. It also tells you if you're paying kind of hidden fees that can reduce your retirement by years. A lot of investors are charged and don't even know it. High fees by their investment people. Or costs that are, built into the mutual fund or the 401k, loads, that kind of thing. And seriously, even a couple of percentage points could mean years off your retirement. So this is a really great way to just free and secure, and you just log in and you're going to see how you stand. 700,000 investors are using this now to just see where they stand. Just go to personalcapital.com/techguy. You can sign up. You're going to get some great tools, award-winning tools. You can get unbiased advice if you want and a transparent view of your investments so you can plan. I always say retirement because that's what I'm thinking about, but it could be to buy a house or for a rainy day fund. It's a complete intuitive financial dashboard. Everything's in one place so you can make better decisions and manage your portfolio like a pro. And if you are tracking accounts worth more than $100,000, and that's easier than it sounds. That's everything: credit cards, checking accounts, investment accounts, and so forth. If you're tracking up to more than $100,000, they're going to offer you for free a half an hour with one of their investment advisors at Personal Capital. This is not a sales pitch. They're going to talk to you about your financial goals, your risk tolerance, your time horizon, and plan for your retirement. And these guys are great. They're super smart. They're not salesmen. They're there to help you. And it's free for 30 minutes if you track more than $100,000 in your Personal Capital dashboard. You'll also get tailored advice on optimizing your investment. You can invest with them, by the way. You can put money into a Personal Capital account and they'll help you invest it. But you don't have to. Take control of your financial future. Personal Capital gives you total clarity and transparency to make better investment decisions right away. For that free, no-obligation portfolio consultation, when you link $100,000 or more in assets on the Personal Capital dashboard, it's easy to do. The results may benefit you for the rest of your life, and they're certainly going to make a difference in your retirement. As soon as you link those accounts, by the way, Personal Capital will contact you for a free 30-minute portfolio consultation. personalcapital.com/techguy. Personal Capital. I love it. It's a really great solution. I'm not going to show you my Personal Capital. Last time I did that, I apparently revealed more than I should have, and they had to blur part of it out. So it's for you. Don't share it with others. personalcapital.com/techguy. Tech Guy. 52 seconds. 49. 46. 45. This has worked beautifully. Whoops. Beautifully. I know exactly where I am. Every moment. Every moment of the show. Well, hey, how are you today? Leo Laporte here, the tech guy. The show where we talk about tech is on the air. Yes, your worst nightmare, a geek with his own radio show. Hi, how are you? 8888 Ask Leo. That's the number. Actually, you know, it's good to have a geek with a radio show. If you have a problem, right, you want to be able to call a geek and say, hey, geek. I think there's kind of a class now, a new class of person that, and you all have one in your life, Rob, right? The geek in your life that you know that if I have problems, I can call the geek. He'll come over, and like the AV squad, and oh yeah, your Sonos is down. Oh, it's easy. We'll just unplug it and we'll fix it. What? You can't boot up? Oh, your printer won't work. Oh, come. You're lucky if you have somebody like that. Be nice to them. Feed them. Give them pie. Geeks love pie. Just stroke their hair once in a while. Just let them know. And if you're the geek, well, you know what I'm talking about. Pie, right? 8888 Ask Leo. People were asking last hour, we were talking about Google's plan to become a cell phone company. Well, what? I've been wanting Google to do this for a long time, and I don't know, exactly when, or we don't know maybe all the details. But the idea is that you will buy a Google phone. Now, this is, by the way, Google, I don't think has confirmed this, but multiple news reports say Google will set, when you buy a phone, you could buy it with Google service. But here's the interesting thing that I find fascinating. They're apparently, and this is how it leaks out, they're negotiating with like all the carriers, like Sprint and T-Mobile. Maybe not all, 2 carriers, the 2 weakest, Sprint and T-Mobile. One's CDMA, one's GSM. And what they want to do, apparently, is have a phone that will work with both. You won't choose. Now, today, when you get a phone, you choose a carrier. But Google's will be Google service. And what it'll do is if you've got, whoever's got the best signal, where you are sitting right now, that's what you'll be using, Sprint, T-Mobile, or Wi-Fi. And that technology does exist. Republic Wireless does it already. They will automatically, you make phone calls and they'll hand off from, I tried it. I made a phone call in the house. It was over Wi-Fi. I got in my car, continued the conversation as I drove, and it didn't, and the handoff was beautiful. Went right to cell. I think Republic uses Sprint's service. So this technology in Android already exists. And so this is a really interesting idea. Google could conceivably offer really inexpensive wireless service that is better than what you're doing now. Maybe. We'll see. We'll see. And it's all a rumor still, and I don't know when it'll happen. Somebody in the chat room saying, oh, it's only going to be on the Nexus 6. Well, we don't know what it'll be on until Google says something. Then we'll know. But I think an interesting idea. We are ripe. The cell phone industry is ripe for disruption. That's what the geeks call it, disruption. If you're in a business, let's say you're in the, I don't know, typewriter business. Your business was ripe for disruption. First came the word processors, then came the personal computers, then bye-bye typewriters. It's like turntables now, though. There are people who collect them, right, and use them. But those are, it's a small subset. So I think cell phone carriers are absolutely ripe for disruption. I hope they go the way of the typewriters. I hope so. David, Burbank, California. Leo Laporte, the tech guy.
Hello, Leo.
Hello.
I've called before a little while back about a PC problem that was blue screen crashing all the time and brought it to the Geek Squad.
Yeah.
I don't know if you remember.
I do.
Oh, great. So finally I decided to replace it, and my tech guy moved out of state.
Oh, so you didn't give him enough pie.
No, I didn't stroke his hair enough.
You got to pat them. Very important, because you know now you're in trouble.
He's gone.
He's gone.
And I know that I was hoping that it was as simple as making a DVD from a VHS tape where you just plug in a wire and let it roll. But
what do you want to do?
I want to be able to make sure that I capture everything from this computer and put it onto the new one that I just bought.
So Microsoft does have this wizard that will copy your data and settings over. I can't think it's called. I can't remember what they keep changing the name. It used to be the something in transfer wizard. I think it's called a migration assistant now. I'm not sure exactly. Let me look it up. You have a Windows 8 machine?
I'm on Windows 7 Professional.
Okay. So you can use that. I'm actually not crazy about doing that, partly because I don't want to bring the broken stuff over in case there's broken stuff. But you can, there is a migration, I think it is called, is it Windows Easy Transfer? Yeah, that's what it's called. Windows Easy Transfer. So you go to if you just click the Start menu and start typing Easy, E-A-S-Y, Transfer, you'll see it. It'll pop up. You can open it. It'll tell you how to connect the two computers, usually via Ethernet, an Ethernet cable, and then it'll copy it over. So that's one way. My preferred way is to go out and buy one more thing, which is an external hard drive, a USB hard drive.
Right, I have a couple of those.
Yeah, because what you're going to do here effectively is make a backup of the old computer. You're not throwing the old computer away yet, are you?
No, and that's that leads to one more question. Is I already have a backup drive that came out of this broken computer. So when I replaced it, I took out the drive, put it into an external casing so that.
So you don't even need the old computer. You just take that drive and copy stuff over from it.
It's not updated though. It doesn't have the newest stuff. So if I did do a transfer, would it erase everything that's already on there and give the new stuff, or only put in what's not there yet?
The new stuff is documents you've created?
Yeah, newer pictures, newer documents from the last time I backed up about 2 months ago.
That's an interesting question.
You know what I'm saying, right?
Yeah, you don't want to overwrite. If it had the same name, that would be a risk. So,
It's the original drive from the computer.
Yeah, I understand. But you're not. In most cases, it won't have the same name. The new data won't have the same file names, right?
But it would give me in other words, it's not going to plug in the things that are missing.
No, it's not going to wipe out everything. It should just copy what's missing over. And it will ask you, I think, if you're doing a copy, it will ask you, oh, wait a minute, you already have this. Do you want me to overwrite it? And you say, no. But I don't think there'll be very many. That's a name collision where you have the same name on the old drive that you had on the new drive. If you've created new photos, they won't have the same name. If you've created new documents, chances are they won't have the same name.
But in other words, would it now duplicate the backup I already have, and now I have duplicates of all the photos from before?
Only if you've changed the name. So what you're going to do is you're going to take the old drive, you're going to plug it into the USB port, and you'll be able to see it, right? You'll see both the old and the new, and you can, if you want to be careful, copy carefully, go folder by folder, and it'll ask you if you're overwriting and say no. When you copy a folder, the one risk is when you copy a whole folder over and you say, and it says, oh, that's the same, you already have that folder, it will replace that. It won't merge them. But there are tools you can use to merge.
Well, I was told to maybe get a thumb drive and one by one grab everything. Do I get that
this external drive is a USB drive, though, isn't it? Already
right, but I was considering leaving that alone because it's the original drive.
No, don't touch it. Don't copy anything. Yeah, don't copy anything to it. You're only copying stuff from it. That's not going to hurt it.
Right. Well, the SSD drive that's in my computer now has new things, whereas the backup was the original drive that I put into a casing that I can use.
I understand. So your goal is to get data that's on the old drive connected via USB to your new drive so you can work on it, and then you'll unplug the old drive and you'll put it in the closet, and that's a backup. So there are ways to do that. You could just copy, but I would suggest maybe using something like Second Copy, which is a synchronization program that won't overwrite new stuff with old stuff, things like that. There are lots of ways to do it. You got to be careful.
The programs, if I have the disk, use the disk. If not,
applications. No,
this is only printer. So Epson will allow me, if I don't find the disk, Epson will give me the printer software.
Right. So we got to run. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. I'll explain this when we come back. Uncle Bick, I know what he's saying. I know, it's not complicated. He took the old drive, unless I'm misunderstanding this dramatically, he took the old drive out of the broken computer. He has a new computer. There's stuff on the old drive that was on the old computer he wants to bring to the new computer. What he does not want to do is overwrite anything on the new computer with the old stuff. Now, one thing I heard him say, and I'm worried about, David, you can't move applications over. You have to reinstall applications. You can't copy applications over. Very few applications are just one file. Almost always on Windows, when you install an application, it installs a lot of stuff all over the hard drive and in the registry, which means a copy will not work. And I do not recommend. There are supposedly programs designed to move apps. Don't do it. If you have an app that was on your old computer, a program that was on your old computer that you need to find a disk or buy a disk and reinstall it. Install it from scratch on the new computer. The only thing this external drive is good for is data, documents, pictures, word processing files, stuff like that. And that's very easy to do. There are all sorts of ways to do it. You can use Windows built-in copy. Probably that's the least intelligent way to do it because it doesn't, Windows copy's broken, for one thing. There's a program called TerraCopy from codesector.com. Somebody's saying that would be a good choice. Let me look at it real quick. Yeah. So any program that's kind of written to do copying will do things like say, here's a duplicate. Don't overwrite the duplicates. You don't want them to overwrite the duplicates. And this TerraCopy, unlike Microsoft Windows, verifies the copy and things like that. So there are lots of ways to do this. I mentioned Second Copy, which is a synchronization program. Probably not the ideal, but that will guarantee not overwrite data. Crucial Wax is saying, Crucial Wax is saying something that you want to upgrade the new drive to a newer OS, wants that old drive to be brought up to date as a backup. I don't know if that's what he's saying, Crucial Wax. Let me ask you. We're in a break, but I could still talk to you. Hi, David.
Oh, okay.
So you just want to get the data off the old computer onto the new one. Is that right?
Well, the thing is, the computer right now that's broken has an SSD drive in it. I replaced the drive thinking that would help fix the computer. So I have two drives. One's in the computer, which is a SSD. Then I have a backup, which was the original drive. So I actually have two drives.
Okay.
So the one from 2 months ago is the original drive. The new one that's in there is the SSD drive. That has new stuff on it that I have not backed up yet.
Okay.
So if I use the SSD drive, it doesn't have all my files. I basically have the newest stuff on the SSD that's in the computer and the older stuff on the backup, which was the original drive.
Okay. So I would take the SSD drive out, put that in an enclosure as well. I presume the old computer doesn't work now, right?
No, it's an Acer. It's done.
It's done. So take the old drive out and do the same thing you did with that other drive. Put it in an enclosure. And now you have two USB drives with two different sets of data. Your only risk is you don't want to overwrite old data with new data. Any good copy program, not Windows owned, but any good copy program will say, oh, wait a minute, let me copy the newest version of that, not the older version.
And if there's any viruses or anything, it wouldn't be on that. Do I take the risk of it being on
No, you're safe. It won't infect your computer. Sometimes, if you're only copying data files, you just can't copy any programs over. That's all. That's the limitation. All right, got to run. Help is on its way. That's what I do here. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. 8888, Ask Leo. More of your calls. Joe in Knoxville, Tennessee. Hi, Joe.
How you doing, Leo?
I'm well.
Yeah, just wondering, I'm a ham radio operator like you. My call is KG4UJC.
Hello, KG4UJC.
Yeah, been playing with the software-defined radio.
Yeah, isn't that cool? You know, even the hardware radios now are software defined.
Yeah, I bought one of the Baofeng or whatever you call radios.
The Chinese ones, yeah.
Yeah, it's remarkable the technology, how much has changed.
Oh yeah.
I've got an old Heathkit 6er that was my dad's first rig in 1963 that I'm trying to restore and get back in operation.
Oh, those are class. See, amateur radio's gone through much the same change as everything else. It's moved from an analog radio system to essentially a digital radio system. New radios, including I have some very fancy radios that are basically just computers. And you know, the company may not tell you. Baofeng doesn't care, but some of the bigger companies may not tell you because they don't want you to know. But it's just software, and often upgrading the capabilities of the radio is just putting new software in the radio.
But you know, I've ordered one of the little USB TV digital TV dongles.
Yeah.
And installed it's SDR Sharp is the program that I've installed. And it'll receive, you know, from about 25 megahertz and up to about, I think, 1.8 gig. I'm going to mod it so I can get down in the lower bands.
You're going way over my head and the head. I'm afraid the heads of the audience as well. This is a specialty I'm not an expert on. You know, we do have a ham show on the network. You ever watch Ham Nation?
Yes, I do.
Wonderful show, and those guys know what they're talking about. Me, not so much. It just shows you anybody can get a license nowadays. So I don't know if I can help you on this one. But
it's just, you know, it's interesting, all the stuff that you can pick up.
It's amazing. It's amazing. And software-defined radios basically replace amplifiers and filters and mixers and modulators and demodulators, all the components of an analog system with a computer, with software.
Yeah.
It's just remarkable.
One more quick thing, and I'll be gone. But on this Heathkit 6er that I'm trying to restore, like I said, it was my dad's first rig.
How fun.
And he's 80-something years old.
Oh, that's
Alzheimer's. Great. And I'm wanting to get it back on the air. Our local radio club does a 6-meter AM net on Sunday nights. And once I get the radio back into operation, I want to get him back on the air. I posted some of his pages from his original logbook back in the 60s to some friends in the local club, and even found some of the people I talk to now that were licensed back then, and they found it in their logbooks where they had talked to my dad. So it's been interesting to connect back through time. You know,
isn't that great?
And people that I'm talking to.
That's wonderful. And is Dad kind of aware enough that if you got the radio fixed, he could go on and say hi?
Yeah, he knows this. You know, he remembers his call sign.
Oh,
actually,
that's
he
great.
let his license lapse, and I renewed it. And,
well, he can always do it under your license too, you know. So
yeah, and a number of years ago, when they changed the rulings, when he got his license, you know, he did the he had to take Morse code, but the test he took was for the same as the general class test.
Right.
So when they changed the rulings, so you didn't have to have code, he was able to upgrade to general.
Oh, that's nice. So he has all the technique. You know, the Morse code, once they eliminated the Morse code requirement, ham radio has exploded. Lots of new hams, including me, because that was a real stopper. And I know some hams go, well, there, yeah, it's let in the riffraff. It's anybody who wasn't willing to take the time to learn Morse code. But I would love to learn Morse code. It's really pretty cool. And given the I can't use my ham equipment here because there's so much noise coming out of our studio, you know, radio noise. But I think Morse code could cut through that. So I got to try it. Anyway, it's great to talk to you. Good luck with your dad's reconditioning. I think that's a great idea, bringing back that old radio. And now I think because most radios are just computers with software, an old analog radio probably has extra, I would guess has extra value. 7-3, Joe. Ken, Chicago, Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Hi, Ken.
Hey, Leo. A big fan. Followed you since the days on MSNBC.
My goodness, the site that was called.
Yes, the site. Yeah. So anyway, I've got a MacBook Pro. It's a mid-2010. I'm getting an error all day long. Display driver has stopped working, so my screen goes black. I have multiple screens, and I work in different locations, and it doesn't matter if I'm hooked up to a secondary screen or just the main computer
Here's
screen.
some good news. Those mid-2010 MacBook Pros, for a long time, people have been complaining about video issues with them. Apple finally has acknowledged it and has initiated a recall. So I think you need to go to Apple. You can either call them, or I think there's a website.
I have done that already.
Oh, and you're not covered.
That's my problem.
Oh.
It's not only that I'm not covered, it's that they won't work on it because I put a solid-state drive in there.
Oh, I
so
see.
They want
You
me to
modified
put the
it.
original drive.
So they will. So it is. So that, just so people know, anytime anybody can do this with a Mac. If you're at all concerned about your Mac, and maybe it's in one of these recalls, just under the Apple About This Mac, they've now got, it's so great, a service tab. If you click it, they'll actually, you can click a button that will get your serial number. You don't have to do it yourself. And then check and see if there's anything amiss with that model. If you're covered in it'll tell you the model and stuff. And so that is really, really a useful feature built in automatically to the Mac. And I highly recommend that. But yeah, interesting. So they don't like it that you put an SSD in there.
Right, and I have to run Windows for work. That's the other problem. So it's
they would want you to wipe the drive, make sure it's not you. Make sure it's not software you added.
Exactly. So I can go on the Mac drive and do what you said, but I'm just concerned. I mean, do you think that I'm going to need to get a new computer?
Well, this recall is, I believe, a hardware recall. I think they're replacing the video cards, and it may be. So you checked, and your computer is in that program?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think you need to do it. Well, I mean, if you want to get it fixed.
Well, I even asked them if they would take a look at it, and I would pay for it, and they wouldn't because they said you got to put the other drive back.
Now, here's the good news. Take out the new drive. That's what Windows is on and all that weird stuff, right? You don't care about the old drive. Put the old drive in.
Well, the old drive's got Windows.
Yeah, but you can but you don't care anymore about that one, right? You reformat it, the way it was when it came from the factory. Get it fixed. Put your it's not so hard. You got to remove those screws, I guess, but it's not so hard to do. You've done it once
put
before.
This one in myself anyway.
Yeah.
So, but I just can't be without the computer. That's the problem.
A couple of people have done this recall, and they said they replaced the entire logic board, the entire motherboard. So
really? Okay,
do it now while they're doing it. I know it's a pain. You got to open up the machine, put the old hard drive back in, but at least you have that old hard drive, and you don't care if you wipe Windows out on that one. So I would take advantage of it. If you're under the recall, that means that they say, and they took a long time to acknowledge this, yeah, there's a hardware problem on your machine. I'd get that fixed while you can. Chris Marquardt, the photo guy, coming up. We're going to talk digital photography next as we continue. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. I know, I completely agree with you, but so somebody in the chat room saying, and I agree with him, that Apple should just fix it. They know what's wrong. That system, regardless of what you've done to it, has a bad motherboard. But every company will do this. They want it to be the way it was that came from the factory. I'm sure Apple is saying, putting a new hard drive in, they could actually say, no, you voided your warranty, and we're not going to fix it. I think what they're saying is, we'll fix it, but it's on you to get it to kind of the state that you bought it in, and then we'll fix it. And I think that's actually fair. I think it's actually fair. They could say, no, you voided warranty. You open it up. We're not going to fix that. So they're being good. They're being good. Hey, it's Chris Marquardt. How are you, sir?
Hello, how are you?
From Boca Raton. No, that's wrong. Viewfinder Villa.
We actually had a whole list of names. We actually had a whole list of names with alliterations just to find the right one.
I like the Viewfinder Villa. Oh, so what do you want to do today?
I want to talk about motion and tension in pictures.
Motion and tension.
Yes.
In pictures. I think that sounds like a good subject.
I think it's one that'll interest you, especially with your new lens and all the amazing photos you take now.
I'm loving my new lens.
I can tell. I just saw the picture you took of Burke. That's brilliant.
You know, it was just a snapshot.
Well, yeah, but
the Leica made it special.
You never say it was just a snapshot. You say, I planned for this for about 1 week, and then
I prevised it for a month.
All the lights and
yes.
Yeah.
Yes. You like me. You really like me. Yeah. So it's a beauty. It's a beauty. I don't want to shoot anything else.
Mr. Laporte.
I know. I got to take more. I take it with me everywhere now. So that's a start.
That's a very good
Low light's very good. I took. I should see if.
I'm very proud of you.
I took some nice low light shots. Yeah, these are ISO 5000. It was evening. I'll copy these off. Oh yeah, they came out pretty well. It's all the lens.
No, it's not. It's what the lens is doing with you. What the lens is doing to you.
Oh, it's nice not to have to carry a whole kit around.
Oh, totally.
And just say, this is it. That's all. Right there. Just that. Nothing more. And it's small enough that it doesn't look imposing or scary.
It looks a bit like a tourist camera, you know, something that someone might just hang around the neck and take snapshots of.
So you see the red dot, and then you go.
No, most people don't even recognize that. Most people will see, okay, it's just a camera.
Sony.
Have you seen that video that Google took where they asked people what a browser is?
No.
Oh, it's amazing. But the majority of people says, oh, that's where I search, right? That's where I search for things.
That's my search engine. Is browser.
It's amazing. It's amazing. So people, I mean, it's okay, but people just don't recognize these things. It's just a handful of photo geeks. That's us and
I know
a few more.
But you know, if somebody does look at this and go, "Oh, red dot," and then they appreciate, then I feel like I can talk to you. You're my people. No, it's the somebody's asking. It's not the Noctilux. I didn't get the Noctilux. This is actually only an f2, but it's a 50 f2, the APO. Summicron.
If you had the Noctilux, I would really have been. I don't know. I would have started to wonder if there's something you have to.
There's something wrong with me. I'm compensating. If you have an f.09, 5 is no. But you know, the f2 on this with the low light capability of this body is really great. I'll copy some pictures off here.
Stanley Kubrick shot some scenes in Barry Lyndon at f.075, I think.
No, but that's different on a film camera, I think.
Well, he did this on He did candlelight scenes with a film camera back in the 70s.
Wow. If it's the Kodachrome song, it must be time for Chris Marquardt, our photo guy. Chris joins us many weeks to talk about digital photography. And I find it very inspiring to listen to you, Chris. And it makes me want to go out and take pictures. And I guess that's the goal, isn't it?
That is the goal. Yeah. If you shoot just a few more pictures because you listen to something, one of those strange things that I tend to tell people, then I'm really happy.
What do you got to tell us today? Give us some inspiration.
Yeah, that's. I was actually holding a workshop over this weekend, so I just returned from that. And one of the things that really rang with people was when I talked about motion and tension. I mean, you do have a choice. You can either just point the camera at something and shoot. Or you can really start thinking about how you want to place something, how you want to place things in the frame, and you might even decide that something is your subject, and then you can place it, I don't know, on the left, on the right, on the bottom, on the top, or you can use the rule of thirds, or there's so many ways to compose an image. Now, here's an interesting thing. The placement of your subject has an influence on how much, let me call it tension the viewer will feel, like tension or suspense in the picture. And you can do this simply by placing the subject in the right spot or in the wrong spot.
Well, so, you know, a lot of times when people are beginning photographers, they put everything in the middle. So, like, we're going to take the family portrait, and everybody's in the middle, and then there's a castle behind them. That's kind of the natural thing. But you're saying that may not always be the way to do it?
You know, cameras suggest that. If you look through a viewfinder, you have all these dots and things in there, and then there's this circle in the middle, and that kind of suggests that that's where you want to place your subject. And of course, place it place it somewhere outside of that, and it's probably a bit more interesting picture. But what I'm going to tell you is really works with subjects that have a direction, that have something that moves, or something that implies a direction, like a bicycle or a car or a train, or a person has a direction. I mean, you can face left, you can face right. Anything that can face somewhere will imply a direction. Now, imagine let's for simplicity, let's use a car as an example, and you put this in your frame. Now, if you have the choice, you put it in the left or on the right of your frame. Now, this depends on where it points. You might have the car there with space to move into. So let's say the car moves from the left to the right. You place it on the left side of the frame. You have space to move into for the car, which means there is no uncertainty, right? There's no uncertainty where it will go. It has space to move into. Or you point it, or you put it on the other side of the frame where it's about to leave that frame. And that
so
all of a sudden,
motion. Yeah.
Well, not just the motion, but if the car is just about to leave the frame, you don't know what's behind the frame. The viewer doesn't know what's behind that edge of the frame. So there's no idea. Will it hit a wall? Will it hit a tree? You have no idea. So that creates some suspense.
There's some tension. Yes.
There is some tension all of a sudden because you don't know where it's gonna go. So that's the one thing. As soon as you have something moving, again, a bicycle, a car, something, or a person, if you have a person pointing outside the frame, looking outside the frame, you don't know what they're looking at. So that creates some tension. For sure.
Yeah. If they're just going, oh, and they're pointing, you don't see what they're pointing at.
Or just looking. They don't even have to point.
Yeah. I never thought of that. Yeah.
A very simple trick. Now, there's another thing that can add tension, or the opposite, more ease in the picture. If you want a picture that has more ease, it's more calm. Again, you can have something point into the frame. But now let's look at the left and right direction. Guess which of those two is more natural for us?
Left or right? I would say putting stuff on the left because we read left to right, right?
Exactly. We read left to right. In our culture, left to right is the more natural motion.
If you're in Israel or if you're in Saudi Arabia, right to left.
It might be the opposite way.
Right, yeah.
So if you have something moving from the left to the right, pointing from the left to the right, it is more natural to you. If you point it the opposite way, right to the left, then you add a bit more tension. And now you can combine those two. Now you can say, okay, I have something moving left to the right, I put it in the left of the frame, that's kind of natural. I have something moving left to the right, and I put it towards the edge of the frame where it's almost going to leave the frame. That's a super high amount of tension that you put in this picture.
Interesting.
So try playing with things in pictures, putting them to the left, putting them to the right, and just look at them, and you will quickly realize that some of those pictures feel more natural and some of those feel more tension. Now, I'm not saying any of those is better or worse. You might want to have some tension in the picture. If you look at car ads, for example, in magazines, a lot of them are pointing from the left to the right against our natural direction because that adds more tension and it gives the car more of a it's a bit more on the edge, you know.
Yeah, and it catches your eye, and of course that's one of the goals of an advertisement is to get you to look some more at it. Yeah.
Exactly. So that's a super simple thing to experiment with if you shoot digitally.
What this comes from, I think, is the notion that a photograph isn't really a static object, but something that tells a story, that there is something going on. And when there's something going on in a photo, that's when it's more interesting than it's just like, hi, we're here standing in front of a castle.
The vacation snapshot, yeah. Well, as soon as something implies motion, you have a kind of a time sequence and something is going to happen with that thing.
Yeah, you wouldn't think a simple static frame could have a feeling of time or flow, but it does by the virtue of how you do that, yeah.
Yes, they do.
Very, very good. I like it.
So just a bit of food for thought.
Chris Marquardt is at chrismarquardt.com, but because that's spelled so weirdly, we're just going to put a link in the show notes at techguylabs.com, or you could go to discoverthetopfloor.com. That's where Chris puts his workshops, and there's links there to his great work. He's on Flickr as a NUBUI, and it's really great to look at his stuff. He's also posting his stuff on his own website. So I guess discoverthetopfloor.com would be the
That's the perfect place to send people to.
Yeah. And you're doing a workshop, and I don't know if I'm going to, Lisa and I are going to get to do it. We're going to try in October. In New York City,
yes. Inside New York, I'm teaming up with Princeton Photo Workshop, and we're holding that together, and we're going to go to places where people don't usually get. We're going to go into Grand Central Station with a tripod permit, which is quite unusual. So we can
great.
Shoot inside, get some HDR under the belts, and learn lots of different things. So I'm looking forward to that. It's in October.
Yeah, that'll be fun. And by then, the snow should have melted. We're hoping. Of course, maybe more will have fallen. We also have a photo assignment we want to invite everybody to do. This is not a contest. There's no reward. There's no prizes. But it's really, again, to encourage you to get out there and take a photo. What is our topic for this month?
The topic of the month is awake.
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 Awake. Awake. Could be 2 words. Could be 1 word. That would change very much the meaning. But we don't tell you. See, we're not giving you any hints here. Here's how it works, though. You do take a picture. It does not have to be with a fancy camera. It could be with your phone, but because it's not the camera, it's the photographer. But take a picture that illustrates the concept, the idea, awake, and then upload it to Flickr. That's free. If you don't have a Flickr account, you should get one. Every photographer should have a Flickr account. They give you a terabyte of storage. It's free. Anyway, upload it to Flickr. Make sure you tag it with the, let's make it all 1 word, AWAKE when you do the tag. And then submit it to the Tech Guy group. And Renee Silverman, our moderator, will say thank you. You can submit 1 new photo. And by the way, it has to be a new photo. Don't go back through your catalog. This is all about you getting out there and taking a picture and making it illustrate awake. Chris, thank you. I still haven't done that, but I will. I will.
We're going to review that next week, so you have 1 more week.
Oh, okay.
Ooh,
I'm going to sneak up on Lisa while she's sleeping and then pour a glass of water on her and then snap the photo.
I dare you to do that.
And
I dare
then
you
run
to do
like
that.
heck. DiscoverTheTopFloor.com. Thank you, Chris Marquardt. More of your calls coming up in just a moment. 8888 Ask Leo. Our website, TechGuyLabs.com. I am Leo Laporte, the Tech Guy. Awake, Lisa. Awake.
No, I don't think she would like that.
If I time it just right, I might get a great photo.
Yeah, you might also get...
Right before I get beamed.
Something else. You get my...
Yeah, yeah. I copied over... This is one of the things I love about the Sony. While we were talking, I just use NFC to copy it over to my my Android phone.
I still don't have a single camera that does Wi-Fi. Other than my iPhone.
It's just, I love this. And let me see if here's some of the, I took this last night of Lisa. The low light is, and that was some flowers, and there was no light at all. So low light performance is just, this is actually an interesting one. This was at night. I'll have to put it up on the big screen as soon as it copies over. Same thing here with trees.
Ooh.
Yeah, kind of spooky, huh?
Ooh.
Yeah. So, there you go. Is that it? Yeah, that's it. I thought there was 1 more picture. I guess not. Maybe they didn't get all copied over. But it's nice. It's nice to have an F2 even on this camera is fine. But I'm shooting it wide open all the time. Love it. Love it. Love it.
That's it'll go on like that for a few weeks, and then you will start stopping it down a bit.
No, man. I paid all that money for that.
Paid for it.
I want the F2.
All right. Enjoy the F2.
Thank you, Chris. I will. And maybe we'll see you in Germany in the summer. I don't know.
Well, we'll find some way to meet up.
None of the Bergs are near the Viewfinder Villa, though, I think.
Not really, no. Maybe October will work.
I'm really hoping if we can figure that out. It has to do with Michael's school and all of that, too.
True.
Yeah.
Well, whatever you know, let me know, and we have a space for you reserved. So
thank you.
Absolutely.
All right. Take care.
You too.
Bye.
Till next week.
Till next week. That Charlie Daniels, he's got a big hat. We have a mutual friend, and when Charlie was in town performing, and I saw him perform this wonderful song, they said, come on backstage and say hi. So I went, and I got the biggest cowboy hat I could find. I mean, it was big. I have it here somewhere. I'll show you. It was giant. Ginormous. And not as big as Charlie. He had a big hat. That guy, that's not 10 gallons. That's like 50-gallon, that hat. 8888 Ask Leo. I do have a picture somewhere of me and Charlie in giant hats. Actually, I will look for that. If I can find it, we'll put it on the website. Marie is next, Redlands, California. Hello, Marie. Leo Laporte, the tech guy.
Hi, Leo. I never thought I'd be asking a geek for help, but here I am.
It's good. I'm telling you, good to know a geek.
It is.
In this day and age.
Yeah, it is. My question for you is, I'm traveling to the British Isles in the spring, and I have an iPhone 6, and I was wondering if I should buy a new phone when I get there, or if I can use the iPhone 6 on FaceTime and not incur gigantic charges on my carrier.
You called the right geek, because I was in London with my iPhone 6 3 months ago. Good. So, yes. I love how you call it the British Isles.
The British Isles.
That sounds so romantic. Sounds like you're going to Guernsey. But so the iPhone, who's your carrier is the first question.
AT&T.
Excellent. So the iPhone actually doesn't matter because they're in the U.S. the iPhone is the iPhone. There's one iPhone, and all 4 carriers sell essentially the same hardware. All iPhones have a SIM card. You maybe you don't know this, but if you look, there's a little place with a hole. You could poke a SIM or a poker. I don't know what do you call that, a SIM poker in there or a paperclip. It'll pop out a little drawer. In there's a little circuit card, a little tiny one. That identifies your phone as yours, your phone number to AT&T. AT&T won't work unless you have that SIM card in there. So, a couple of things. First of all, to answer your first question, if you want to save money and use your phone in Britain, do exactly what you just suggested. Go in the settings of the phone and turn off something called data roaming. This is the pitfall. You know, if you get a phone call, it's going to be expensive. People can call your local number, your Redlands number, and it'll ring in London, and you'll pick up, and it's now suddenly going to be international rates. But you know that, and you can either not answer the phone or whatever. But the problem is all the smartphones today, without asking you, are always going out, checking your email, see if there's any Facebook updates. They're online all the time. And if you leave data roaming on, they'll use the very expensive international data roaming rates. And you will come home with a bill in the thousands of dollars, literally.
Yeah, we want to avoid that.
Don't do that. So one way to avoid that is just turn off data roaming. Now, what'll happen is when you're outside of a Wi-Fi will continue to work. So at your hotel, for instance, everything will be normal. But when you go outside of that area, you'll still be able to get phone calls, but you won't have any data. Your Google Maps, you won't be able to look where you are. You won't be able to look up stuff in the web and that kind of thing. Now, the good news is Wi-Fi is everywhere, and FaceTime will work just fine. So you can call home with FaceTime using Wi-Fi, and it'll be no cost to you. It'll just be the cost of getting Wi-Fi in the hotel.
Okay, so I need to be where there's Wi-Fi to do that.
Well, that's the cheapest, easiest thing to do. The only requirement there is when you get on the plane, turn off data roaming, and then when you get home, turn it back on. You can also go to AT&T and say, I'd like to buy a packet of international data. They sell them in I think 250 megabytes, 750 megabytes, different packages. It can be expensive. I think I paid for 250 megabytes. I think it was $100.
Okay.
Anyway, check with AT&T. I can't remember what the pricing is, but it can be expensive. But it's still much, 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 much less than the international data roaming. So you can buy minutes. But now the key there is that you've got to watch closely your usage, because if you go over, suddenly it gets expensive again.
Yeah, what I was really interested in is using my GPS apps, the camera, and
camera will still work. You just can't upload it till you get back to the hotel.
Yeah. Okay.
You can't post to Instagram or Twitter. Now your Google Maps will work because your GPS doesn't use data. Your GPS just looks at the sky. But to get the map data, the background, you have to get online. But you can do that at the hotel. Google Maps and many other map programs have an offline mode that says, download the map of England and keep it in the phone. Now you can use your Google Maps without data. You're walking around. It knows where you are because the GPS works. It doesn't require data minutes. And your map updates automatically because you've got all the data on the phone.
Okay. Well, that's good to know.
So you can do that. Now, the third way to do it, and sometimes people do this, is they go to England or somewhere and they buy a SIM card for that country. They take out the AT&T SIM, put this new SIM card in the tray, pop it in. This changes your phone. You don't have to buy a new one. This will take your phone, make it a British phone. So you'll have a British number. And you'll have data at whatever rate you're paying for.
Do I need to unlock the phone to do that?
Yeah, but AT&T will do that for you. Tell them you're traveling, they'll do that for you.
Okay.
Did you just get it?
Well, it's relatively new. I've had it for about 3 months.
If you're in good standing, AT&T says they'll unlock it. Tell them you're traveling.
Okay.
But that means your phone number doesn't work. People can't call your home phone anymore. Your Redlands number is no longer going to your phone. Some British, 011-3479-84312 is going to your phone.
Okay.
They'll have to know that number if they want to call you.
Right.
You can also, one more way, you can get this is what we did. We went to EE, and we got what's called a MiFi card. It's a little like credit card device that gets data, not international, gets local data through the cellular network, and then is a Wi-Fi access spot in your pocket. And you turn off data roaming on your phone. You continue to use Wi-Fi, but you use Wi-Fi as you wander anywhere. And that's not too expensive either. You would do that when you get there.
Yeah, that solves the problem of finding a Wi-Fi. Then I have my own personal hotspot.
Right.
Okay.
So that's 4 different ways you can slice that cake. Hey, have a great time. Where are you going?
Everywhere. England, Ireland, Scotland, Wales.
Great fun. You're going to have a wonderful
we're
time.
Looking forward to it.
Yeah. Have a great trip. This is,
Thank you.
And I'll tell you, you're welcome. Taking a smartphone with you when you travel is incredibly useful. For no other reason that if you're wandering in a city and you get lost, you open your phone, you say, "Where am I? Please tell me how to get back to the hotel," and the phone will tell you. You don't get lost anymore. There's a wonderful program I'd recommend for the cities called City Mapper. We used it in London, that will tell you how to get anywhere using the mass transit systems, the bus, the underground, the trains, and walking. And you say, well, I want to go to the Tower of London. City Mapper says there's 4 different ways. You could take the bus. You just walk down to the bus stop, take it on the bus. You can go to the underground. It'll tell you all the details. It's wonderful. City Mapper, that's free. And then Zagat Guides is great. If you want to, hey, I'm in Ireland. Where should I eat? And if it's an area that Zagat serves, they'll tell you where the best food is. Lots of useful things. And of course, you're never without information. What is that I'm looking at? Well, let's see. If you're in a country where you don't speak the language, Google Translate. Wonderful. It will actually speak for you. They have a new mode. Obviously, this is not going to be a problem in the UK, except in Scotland. I don't know what language they speak. It's very hard to understand. It's English, but it's different. Anyway, I don't think Google Translate will help you there. But the way Google Translate now works with a large number of languages, you speak into Google Translate, where is the bus station? And it says it. It actually says it in Italian. The person you're talking to says, your phone just asked me where the bus... So person responds in Italian. Your phone now talks to you in English. The phone becomes a translator, like out loud. What an amazing world we live in. Have a great trip, Marie. Pat in Lake Arrowhead, California. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Hi, Pat.
Hi.
Hi.
I've got a question. I'm trying out a new phone. It's called Budget Mobile. And
sounds cheap.
Unlimited talk.
Yeah.
Unlimited text, and it's free. No monthly charge.
Well, how would that work? Oh, this is the government phone.
I don't know. I went down there and...
yeah, this is a lifeline. So sometimes they call this, and I think it's insulting, Obama phone. The government offers these inexpensive, or in many cases free if you're low income, phones. Budget Mobile is a lifeline phone. This is, I think, a great, for veterans, for people on fixed incomes, what a great solution. I'm running out of time, so I would love to ask you how you like it, but I think the idea is great. Budgetmobile.com. You have to qualify, of course. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Yeah, it's not unlimited. 200 free minutes of talk, 250 free minutes, 250 free texts. Good deal, though. Great thing. Yeah, there's more pictures. I didn't get them all. Wonder why. Well, I could always do this. I could just take the card out, do it the old-fashioned way, right? Sure, just put it right here. All right, we'll do that. How does Lisa like the countdown clock? I don't think Lisa has an opinion about the countdown clock.
That was very quirky. I happened to see that too.
What? How does Lisa like
quirky? Yeah.
Quirky. Quirky.
Unless you use it for other things.
Lisa, we have 158 seconds. All right, now, okay, girls, let's see if we can get this all imported over. Keep your memories safe. Keep your memories safe. What is that? Every Mac comes with 1 year limited warranty. I need iPhotos. Migrated library or regular library? I don't know which one I should use. I guess I'll use a migrated library. What? Oh, why are you making me crazy? Why are you making me crazy? Oh, man. Let us import 11 photos. Now I can show you. You don't want my countdown app because it's for me. It only has my time in it. I didn't really write it to... all right, here's the photos. So these are low light. How do I go full screen? These are low light ISO... 500, 5,000 is what is that? Is that what I said? So it was dusk. Handheld. That was the wine. It was good, that Riesling. There's Lisa. That's Lisa, my darling. There's some beautiful flowers.
Ooh, so Eastery.
So Easter. They were. I like the color. This is beautiful. I like this picture. It was dark, so that's just the lights there that are illuminating that.
Nice.
Let's see what ISO that is. 12,800. Holy camole. I wonder if I zoom in what it'll look like. Is it going to be grainy? It's a little bit grainy, but not too bad. Well, hey, how are you today? Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Time to talk computers, the internet, cell phones, camcorders, MP3 players, home theater, all that jazz. 8888 Ask Leo, 888-827-5536. That's the number. Toll free from anywhere in the U.S. and New Jersey and Canada. All three. Or you can call outside U.S. or New Jersey or Canada. Use Skype, and it won't cost you anything. What's on your mind? Let's talk high tech. We're going to kick things off this hour with Peter, Pines Park, California. John. Hello, John.
Hey, Leo. How are you this lovely day?
I am very well. How are you, sir?
Oh, just dandy. KB60VO here.
Ah, W6TWT. Coming back at you.
Cool.
That's as close as I've ever been to a ham radio conversation.
Okay.
Okay.
Anyhow, I've got a Parrot Bebop drone.
Oh, you got a Bebop?
Yeah.
I didn't know they were available yet.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I'm so jealous.
You can get them cheap on Amazon.
$500, right?
Yeah. Well, actually, yeah. It was $500 for that, and I got it bundled with a Sky controller.
Yeah, that allows you to have a nicer kind of remote control for it. What do you think of the Bebop? This is the newest from the folks who really made quadcopters popular, Parrot AR.
It's pretty awesome. The camera is good.
So they're doing an interesting thing with the camera. It's a super wide-angle camera, but you then in software can pick what you want to look at.
Right. You can toggle your view
So you get everything below. You don't. So sometimes on these quadcopters, or sometimes they're called drones, what you do is aim the camera. But this simplifies it. The camera doesn't move at all. It's fixed, but it gets such a wide angle. It's a fisheye. Looks like what do they say here? It's f2.2, a 14 megapixel camera. And what happens is you just pick a portion of it. I'm very excited about these. I didn't realize they were out, so now I'm going to have to order one.
Yeah, it's pretty cheap for what you get, I think.
Yeah, well, I've been buying those $40 ones because I'm still learning how to fly, and I find buying a cheap drone really helps. I've already lost one, so I don't want to lose a $500 quadcopter.
Right.
Well, good. I'm glad to hear a recommendation. And you control it. You could control it with your iPhone or your iPad, but if you get, as you did, you get the handle, the Sky controller. That makes it much easier. You've got, you know, kind of traditional RC joysticks and all that.
Exactly. Well, the only rub I'm having with it is it works with your smartphone for looking out the camera while you're flying it.
Right.
And the Sky controller itself does all the controlling. So I'm just, it works with my iPhone 5 just fine, but that's kind of a small display for what I'm doing.
Yeah, they show an iPad in the demo.
Right. You can also put the bigger tablet in it, but the app that they have that works with it is, it wants iOS 7 or 8.
Right.
And I'm wondering what the cheapest tablet is going to be that will run iOS 7 or 8 that will give me a bigger display.
The only thing that'll run iOS 7 or 8 is an iPad, obviously. Right. And they do sell, I wouldn't recommend, I don't know if Apple, you know, here's what you should do. Apple has a refurb store where they take, yeah, they're not allowed in the state of California, maybe many other states, to sell a box that's been opened as new. There was a lawsuit over this, and it was deemed not a good idea. So even if somebody bought something and immediately returned it, never even turned it on, they have to sell it as refurb. So they are selling second-generation iPads refurbed, the iPad 2. That'd probably work, and those are very cheap, or relatively cheap. Apple isn't going to cut the cost hugely, but or you might look at a mini. Maybe that would be fairly inexpensive, or more inexpensive anyway. But you're going to get down to a refurbished iPad with a Retina display. That's the 4th generation, $299. That's a lot less than that would have cost new. About $200 off.
Is this off of the Apple site?
It is. It sure is. I just Googled Apple and refurb, and you find the Apple refurb store. Certified refurbished, they call it.
Good deal.
Yeah, that's good. That's probably the best. I wouldn't go. You could go on eBay, maybe buy somebody's used iPad. That's a little risky.
Right.
This way, you're getting it. It's from Apple. When they sell it as refurb, it's basically new, and you get the full warranty and all of that. I think an iPad. Would an iPad 2, let me ask the chat room, would an iPad 2, I guess it would run iOS 7 just fine, but eventually you're going to want to put iOS 8 on it. I guess it would run iOS 8 okay. And that would be the cheapest thing you can do. I'm looking at Gazelle, one of our sponsors. They sell it for $189 for an iPad 2 refurb. That's a pretty good deal. They guarantee it only for 30 days, though. Apple would guarantee it with the full warranty.
Right.
So but I'm glad to hear about the Bebop. I just ordered one while we were talking. I didn't know it was available. Now, if I lose it, I'm blaming you. First time I flew one of these drones, I got a SEMA, which is about $40 on the advice of one of my colleagues. Father Robert Balasaire is a drone expert. And he said, get the cheap one, the SEMA, S-Y-M-A first, and learn how to fly it, because two things are going to happen. One, you're going to lose it. You won't kick yourself. It's a $500 device. Two, if it falls out of the sky, it's not going to injure anybody. It's so light. So and he was right. The first time I turned on that SEMA, it went straight up and disappeared into the clouds, and I never saw it again. So it's probably good. I should practice before I use the Bebop. I don't want a $500 drone going straight up and disappearing. Are you getting great? Pictures out of that?
Yeah, the video is really good.
I saw my friend David Pogue did a review when they first announced it, and I really was impressed by how it looked and how easy it was to fly. But I do caution people; it's not as easy as it looks, right? The
thing about the Bebop camera is it's got, what is it, gimbal stabilizers?
Yeah, that's what you want. It's basically a steady cam.
It doesn't flip all around like the AR2 did.
Their original Parrot drone, yeah. They've really perfected this. I agree. Well, good. Hey, thanks for the tip. I saw them at CES in January. I didn't know they were going to be able to sell them so quickly. So now you just sold another one. Thanks, John.
Tip on the refurb store. Thank you.
All right, take care. Darren, San Diego, Leo Laporte. Hey, Darren.
How you doing, Leo?
Well. How are you?
Great. I'm stepping out of the restaurant. We were eating pizza.
Oh, man, bring some with you. I could use a slice.
Yeah, Project Pie, downtown San Diego.
All right.
So my question to you is this. I have a brand new MacBook Pro. I'm a musical lover, so I have probably roughly around 12,000 songs, 12,500. I purchased a brand new iPhone 6.
Okay.
Plugged it in.
Okay.
And initially I had a lot of problems. It kept staying like in the preparing to sync mode. I left it plugged in all day. It never really, it didn't go any further than that. So I went to Apple, got help from their genius several times. They eventually replaced my phone thinking that was the problem. That did help some. Well, it did help some. But now I'm still missing about 600 songs, maybe a little bit more, and it's starting to stay in the preparing to sync mode again for longer.
What did they? Do you know? So they said it was just something wrong with it.
They thought it was the phone because I'd made 3 different appointments and stayed there. Really, I probably had about 8 hours invested in staying at the Apple Store trying to get.
Oh my goodness! Well, I don't know. We have to take a break. Let me think about this and see what this could be. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Seems like maybe, I don't know. Oh man, I can't believe was that impulsive? I've told you before how much I love my Epson work to buy that drone.
Yes, but we expect nothing less.
I'm such poor impulse control.
That implies you have any.
Oh, I wanted red, but they don't have the Sky controller in red. I didn't realize it was out. I get it on Tuesday. You want blue so it disappears in the sky? All right, so what is going on with this guy in iTunes? Everybody needs to help me because that's bizarre. Here's a thread from Raymond J. Thoth. Let's see. Discussions 3-5. Stuck at preparing to sync, it says. Yeah, this is from 2011. Yeah, this is so old. I don't think this is useful. And he didn't get help. So forget that. So Dr. Mom is saying, and I'm sure Darren can still hear me, even though he may be eating pizza right now, that if you made your own music, you ripped the files. If you have one that's messed up, it could be blocking the sync. So here's another one. Raymond J. Thoth again at the helm with a Mac Rumors post. This is from September. First, there are 2 separate bugs. Waiting for sync to start bug. That one is simple. iTunes can't sync when your passcode is locked. Oh, of course. That's it. It even says you have to unlock it. Darren, your phone's unlocked, right?
What do you mean? I put in a code.
Yeah, it won't sync if the phone's locked, but it'll say that I can't sync if the phone is locked. So that couldn't be it. But
all of my music, I just wanted to tell you, all of my music is legal.
no, I'm not saying it's illegal, but did you make it yourself from CDs or did you buy it on iTunes?
Both. I have some that I burned from CDs and some that I purchased from iTunes.
I think there is a bad track somewhere in there. And Dr. Mom in our chat room says that has happened. If you have a corrupted file, maybe you ripped a file, but it got damaged, it will stop the rest of the sync. So I'm going to put in the show notes a link to this Mac rumors thread because this describes this problem exactly, and it seems to be useful.
What I find strange is it's copied this music to an iPod, but it won't copy it to my phone. And it sometimes it'll only pick like one or two songs from a complete CD,
right,
and copy them.
Yeah, and you're doing it via USB, right? You're connected.
Correct.
Yeah.
Even the people at Apple just have no idea what the problem is. They said they've never seen this before.
Well, it has happened before because I'm seeing a lot of some people talking about it on the web.
Now, let me ask you this. I took my music off of an older MacBook, 2007 MacBook, and the guy, when he moved it over to an external hard drive to put it on my new computer, he just kind of copied and pasted it. I guess that's okay, right?
Yeah, make sure you disable sync over Wi-Fi. That's one solution. Hold on a second, because we got to come back here.
Sure.
Leo Laporte, the tech guy. We've been talking with Darren at the Pizza Parlor in San Diego about his issue. He's hooked up he says he's synced an iPod, and it's worked fine, but for some reason when he syncs or tries to sync his iPhone to this music collection on his Macintosh via USB, it just gets stuck at preparing to sync, and then he doesn't go any farther. Apple was able to get it working once, but it's happening again. Wow. So I don't know exactly what's going on, Darren, but there are a few things you can try. One is to turn off Wi-Fi sync. Here's what I would do. I'm going to turn off the sound for a second because I'm hearing lots of weird piercing noises. It's hurting my ears. Here's what I would do. Don't do this over USB. Do it. Pay $25 for iTunes Match, which I think is well worth it. It's $25 a year. One of the things Apple does that's great is they match all the music, even stuff that you ripped from CDs. They match it all. It doesn't have to be stuff you purchased on iTunes. If you delete it, and what I would suggest doing is do iTunes Match, let it go for a few days so it's matched everything on your Macintosh. Copy those files off to an external drive so there's no risk of losing them. You don't want to lose your music. But once you've done that, delete it from your Macintosh and then restore it from iTunes Match. That will refresh everything. You can even, once you've done this on the iPhone, download everything over the internet from iTunes Match. So this will give you, first of all, higher quality, unprotected versions of all songs. They'll all be 320 kilobit AAC files. Is it 320 or 256? Anyway, very high quality AAC files. They remove any copy protection on files you bought when they were still doing copy protection. You'll get fresh versions of it, and they won't be, for the stuff that Apple has a copy of, which is almost everything, they won't be your copy of it. It'll be a fresh copy from Apple. And so if one of those files is damaged, and that's sometimes what can cause this, it'll replace that with a good version. And it means that on your phone, you can just get what you want, because you'll see if you open music on your phone, you'll see little puffy clouds with down arrows next to the songs that aren't on the phone. Tap any one of those or tap all of them and download them. Now, that's going to take a while. I would do it over Wi-Fi. I would do it overnight. But that's an easier way to get your entire music collection onto your phone without connecting it to your computer. Frankly, I really like that. I think that's a good way to go. It's how I do it. Apple, it kind of no longer wants you to use USB. They want to do everything either via Wi-Fi or via iTunes Match. I think iTunes Match is a good solution. If your stuff is ripped at a low quality, below, I think, 96 kilobits, no problem. Just it's going to sound bad, but you don't care because you're going to delete it. You're going to get a good quality copy from Apple. Just resample it at 128 kilobits, Even though that's not going to improve the sound, it will trick Apple into matching it, and then you'll have a good copy at 320 kilobits of AAC. I think this is the best way to do it. iTunes Match, and it's a good price, $25. Google will do that for up to 25,000 songs as well, Google Music. If you have that, I think that's what I use. Amazon does something similar as well. So there are other ways to do it. But iTunes Match works with your iTunes on your phone, and that's, I gather what you're trying to do is get your collection onto your phone. So it seems like that's the way to do it. Google Music has increased the number of songs, that's right, to 50,000 songs for free. But if you do it with Google Music, it won't load into your iTunes on your phone. It'll be in a Google Music app on your phone. So if you want to use iTunes, that's the way to go. Lance in Los Angeles, Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Hi, Lance.
How are you? I love the international flavor of today's show.
It is tinged with spaghetti sauce.
We have pizza, and people going to the British Islands. All your dialects and accents are just fantastic.
Well, I start talking in Russian, and then we'll see what happens. What can I do for you?
Well, in keeping with the international communication aspect, I've been having a lot of trouble with Skype. And it's been flawless for years. I use it often, and just regular Skype to Skype, nothing fancy. And now it crashes upon startup every time.
Yeah.
And Heather has admonished me that it's because my system is very old compared to. She's already told me that, but it's been
Heather. Oh, Heather. What are you using? Are you using Windows XP?
No, I'm a Mac person.
Okay.
So I'm using 10.6.8.
Oh, that's fine.
Which is what, Snow Lion or Snow Leopard?
Snow Leopard. Yeah.
And the latest version of Skype that accommodates that. And I know I should upgrade, but every time I upgrade into like Mavericks or the new System 10s, there's always some functionality that is indispensable to me that goes away. And this is also true with iPhones and stuff like that. I'm so afraid to upgrade because I use Quicken, and here we are at tax time, and it's indispensable.
Yeah, well, that's a good reason not to change anything at all right now. I think Skype, sometimes people... Look, Skype is kind of a little minor miracle. That it works at all is amazing.
I think once you use it, everything else is like two tin cans and a string.
I love Skype, and we use it all the time. When Chris Marquardt joins the show from Germany, he joins us via Skype. When Scott Wilkinson does, he's on Skype. They sound like they're in studio with me. They're not. They're on Skype.
Absolutely.
It works wonderfully.
It's amazing.
Yeah, and for almost all of our podcasts, many of our hosts are on Skype all over the world. So... But I do acknowledge that Skype can sometimes be finicky. It just, frankly, this sounds like you just have I don't think it sounds like there's a basic problem with Skype. It sounds like there's just something wrong on your system. You presume you've uninstalled it, you've removed it and reinstalled it and all that.
I've done everything that their tech site and Skype community has advised. I've gone on to the Skype online.
When is it? So it just never launches.
It launches, and my Skype contacts come up, and about 30 seconds later, the little revolving beach ball starts to happen, and then it crashes.
Yeah.
And then I get the Apple report send to option.
Yeah.
And then the Skype has its own option that says, please contact us. We want to know about this.
So I know there are lots of people using Skype on Snow Leopard. So I don't think that's the issue. Are people in the chat room, is there anybody using Skype on Snow Leopard? I mean, it is possible that you're, using, you have to obviously use the version of Skype that is compatible. You may not be able to use the latest version. But at this point, so I'm seeing people in the chat room who say they are using Skype with Snow Leopard. So that's the first thing. Does Skype work with Snow Leopard? Yes. I would say you're merely uninstalling Skype or dragging Skype to the trash probably isn't enough. It sounds like there's some support files that are damaged. And these are such a hard thing to track down. The application is crashing. It shouldn't be. But it's easy to say it shouldn't be. How do we fix it? I would check, any additional files, maybe in application support on your Mac that are from Skype, get rid of them. Preferences files, that kind of thing. I'd also run disk utility. It's in the utilities folder of your applications folder, and do a disk repair. Make sure the disk is working well. Maybe use App Cleaner to get rid of any little traces of Skype. You want to start from scratch. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. But we do know that Skype, that's the real question is, does Skype work with Snow Leopard? And people are saying it does, so. Let me just check. What version? Oh, yeah, and this is a great tip. Thank you. Reminding me, the chat room's reminding me. If you use a Mac, always a good idea to create a kind of an unused administrator account. Just unuse it. Just don't use it. I call mine Ghost to remind me this is not to be used. And another test is to log into this unused account. I guess you could create it now. You might be copying over any problems, but try it. Create a new unused account if you don't have one, or if you have an administrator account that you're not using, some account that's not been damaged, and try Skype from there. And the reason for that is a lot of the configuration files and stuff are local to each individual user. So a clean user account this is very valuable in a lot of cases. Library, Mark Pelletier tells me, library app support Skype. I think it's application support, but library application support Skype. Delete Skype, delete everything in there. Just delete all of that. That's going to be, your contacts and everything are stored in the cloud by Skype. So that won't be a problem. Library preferences, com.skype.skype.plist is another one. Create a new account, all of those things. See, I didn't see that, Pyro. Amazon has the Sky Bebop with the Sky controller in red, huh? Let's see. Parrot Bebop drone. Ah, yeah, for $9.99. Oh. See, I see that, but as soon as you click Sky controller, oh, available from these sellers. That's the problem. These sellers. I want red, red, red. $9.99, $12.99, $13.99. See, yeah, Amazon has it for a $100 premium. So they don't have it, Pyro. But B&H does. That's all right. I can live with blue. I'm going to lose it anyway, aren't I? Free expedited shipping. Ooh, yeah. Ooh. You don't need the controller, but apparently it's easier to control with it. And the Sky controller extends the Wi-Fi range. Wonder if it's too late to cancel my Amazon order. Let's see, your orders. Your orders. Not yet shipped. I can cancel it. Let's see. Select cancellation order created by mistake. I made a mistake. I don't want it. Oh, good. All right, now I can go and get it from B&H. Yeah. Yeah. That's the ticket. Warning, carefully read instructions to avoid loss, damage, or injury. Yeah, extended Wi-Fi range means you can lose it even farther away. Exactly. I guess I should check into my B&H. I spend a lot of money with the B&H folks. Hello, B&H. Do 36 seconds. 36 seconds to buy the quadcopter. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Brad's in Pensacola, Florida. Our next caller. Hi,
yes,
Brad.
Leo.
Hey.
Yes. How you doing?
I'm wonderful. How are you?
Good. Hey, I was wondering on the Samsung Galaxy S6, do you think it's worth waiting for, or just to go ahead and get another iPhone 6?
Well, that is a huge question because, of course, now you're talking Android versus iOS. If you love, do you have an old iPhone?
Yeah, I have an iPhone 5. It's the worst phone I've ever had.
Oh, Okay, so you're not the most thrilled in the world with iOS. What don't you like about the iPhone?
Oh, I mean, I like the features and everything on it and everything, and
But why is it the worst phone you have ever had?
Well, because one Sunday afternoon I was just getting out of church, and I went to the flea market, and I guess because of the heat and everything caused the screen to crack.
Oh.
And then all that, a week or two later, the volume button went out on trying to lower the volume, and, just stuff like that.
So it's kind of falling apart on you.
Correct.
Well, any smartphone can. I mean, these things, you're carrying them around in your pocket in tough conditions. So I'm not sure that the S6 would be any better. I'm very interested in the S6, but here's are you considering an Apple Watch? Because only an iPhone will work with the Apple Watch. Somehow, I don't think you are, but let me ask. No. Not on your list? No. And what do you use your smartphone for mostly?
Oh, just the general easy stuff. I mean, I do Google, certain things up.
Do you ever use the speech capability?
Nope.
The camera in the S6 looks to be very good. Whether it'll be better than the iPhone, I don't know. The iPhone camera is good. Do you use the camera?
Yeah, I use it quite a bit.
Oh, good. All right.
No.
iPhone 6 camera is amazing, but I have to say, if anything competes with it, it's the Note 4, and I presume the S6 will be even better. So the camera's very good. It is Android. It's a different operating system. So your apps, anything you've purchased for iOS, will not work on Android. You'll have to either repurchase, or in many cases, they're free. You just download them again. Are there any apps that you really care about?
Oh, I mean, I can always purchase new apps.
Yeah, they're cheap. Yeah, they're cheap.
Yeah.
This is a tough one because you're making a fairly big leap from iOS to Android. And, I can't predict how you're going to react to that. Some people are just going to look at Android and say, oh, I hate this. I personally prefer Android, but that's me.
Mm-hmm.
So
why is Samsung taking so long to bring it online? Because here they make the announcement last
That's
Sunday?
not unusual. And Apple's going to do the same thing with the Apple Watch. It's not unusual for an announcement to precede the release by a month. They've got to get manufacturing up. They've got to get it on the stores and stuff. The Samsung Galaxy S6 will be in the stores a month from Monday or Tuesday, I guess. So April 10th. It may be expensive, but of course it's not going to be more expensive than a new iPhone. Those are the priciest phones on the market. I suspect it'll be about the same, $200 or $300 from your carrier, depending on the model you pick. I think the new S6 looks a lot like an iPhone 6. It's got aluminum body, edges, but it's got glass back and front. That may be an argument against it if you've cracked your iPhone. This is going to be glass, not just on the front, but on the back, the S6. You might be better off with an iPhone because it's glass only on the front. It's very difficult, frankly, for me to tell you what you're going to like better. It's like asking me, blondes or brunettes. It just depends on your now you know what I'm talking about. Depends on your taste. It isn't that one is better than the other. It's really a matter of taste, of what you like. And hardware-wise, I don't think that there's much of a difference in terms of quality. I think Apple and Samsung both do the best they can with quality, but they're making tens of millions of phones. Some of them are going to be bad. I will say this: Apple usually is better about fixing an error. Were you able to get your phone fixed by Apple?
No. Where I live here, there really is an Apple store in the area.
Yeah, that's a disadvantage. If you were near an Apple store, they're usually pretty good. You bring it in and say, hey, it cracked in the heat. They should fix that because that's a flaw.
But how do you prove it?
Yeah, they're pretty good. If you seem like an honest fella, they have a lot of leeway. The geniuses in the Apple stores. And if they judge you to be honest about this, they'll replace it.
Okay.
And if they take a look at you and they don't like the cut of your jib, they may say, yeah, sure. That'll cost you $200, buddy.
Yeah.
If you have an attractive daughter, I'd send her in with it.
Yeah. That'll work.
The truth of it if you throw away all the bias and the kind of fervor that fans of either platform have, I think they're very, very, very similar. And if you could wait a month, I would do is I'd go to a store and look at a 6 iPhone and Samsung and say which one you feels better in your hand, feels better for you. Did you have the 6 or the 6 Plus?
No, I just had the iPhone 5, but I'm...
Oh, the 5. Well, both of these are going to be much bigger. The new Samsung is 5.1 inches, and the iPhone 6 goes up to, if you get a 6 Plus, 5.5 inches. So these phones are going to be bigger. That may be an issue, too, for you. The iPhone 6 itself is the smallest of the 3, and I think that'll be the closest to your existing iPhone 5. If you liked how the iPhone 5 worked, if you felt comfortable with it, using the apps and stuff, it might behoove you to stick with the iPhone because you already understand it. On the other hand, I'm very excited about the Galaxy S6. I use a Note 4. I like the additional features that Android offers. So I'm an Android guy, but that's really personal. It's blonde or brunette. That's the best way I can describe it. Beer or wine, you know. It's a matter of taste. Fiji water versus tap water. Whatever floats your boat. I feel like since you have an iPhone already, that would tend to push me in that direction a little bit. Why learn a new operating system? Kenny in Temple, Texas. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Hi, Kenny.
Hello, how are you doing?
I'm very well. How are you?
I'm doing good,
Good.
My question was, I'm looking for a kind of like a little camera system. I want to find a system where I can hook it directly into the router and have like a hard drive and just be able to communicate to the Wi-Fi cameras and maybe give me like motion, detection. Say if I'm out and about and somebody comes in my house. Yeah.
So there's really security cameras now. There's kind of two ways of doing it. One is, as you described, where the hard drive is local to you. They're kind of like a TiVo. You can have multiple cameras all playing back to the hard drive. A lot of stores use this because then they can look at the hard drive and have 6 different pictures on the screen and look at all of them. That's one way of doing it. And then the other way of doing it that a lot of people are using lately is cloud-based cameras, like the drop cam is an example of that. That drop cam has one wire that goes to power. The rest of it is wireless, and instead of downloading or recording to a local hard drive, it records to the internet. Now, the disadvantage of that is you do pay a subscription fee, but the advantage is very simple, and you don't have to be physically present. So if you wanted to put this in a vacation house, for instance, you could go online to the Dropcam site and see what's going on. They both have the same kind of, motion detection, email you, and so forth. So I like the Dropcam, though. Leo Laporte, the tech guy.
The cut of your jib. How is your jib cut?
Yeah, so there's the pictures I took last night. I like this one. And this is the one that was kind of intriguing. ISO 12,800. That's pretty amazing. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Last few minutes, remaining few minutes of the show for this week. Tomorrow, the big Apple event. Apple's going to stream this live. If you cannot get to Cupertino, actually, I guess it's up here in San Francisco, isn't it? And even if you could, you'd have to have an invitation, and only a select few of the best Apple journalists, not me, got invitations. But you don't have to get an invitation to watch. Apple's going to stream it live, which is fun. If you've never watched an Apple keynote, it's during work hours, but it's fun to watch. And we will what we do on my little podcast network is we sit there and talk about it. Some call it analysis. Some say we're just snarking, but it's always fun. I get some good Apple journalists and we sit around and I say, hey, watch for this. What did he just say? So that'll be at twit.tv. That's where my podcast network is tomorrow, March 9th, 10 a.m. Pacific, 1 p.m. Eastern Time, 1700 UTC. Twit.tv. for the live Apple announcement. Blogs do this too. They type. It's so fascinating. Apple has done such a great job of just getting people overexcited. I mean, I have to say, overexcited about product announcements. Although we did the same thing for the Galaxy S6, so maybe I'm just an excitable boy. Dave in Los Angeles is next. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Hi, Dave.
Hey, Leo, it is a pleasure to talk to you, my friend.
Well, thank you. Same to you.
I have to tell you, before you started archiving the shows, and then you just have to catch it on the weekends.
Yeah.
In the car, my wife used to say, we'd be driving around, she'd say, do I have to call Leo's show to get to talk to you?
Honey, this is your wife.
Constantly shushing her. You know?
Shh, Leo's talking. Well, thank you, and I apologize to your wife, and I'm glad now you can listen in the privacy of the of wherever it is that you listen, in the wood, out there in the woodshed.
Exactly, that's exactly right. Say, for years I've been, digitizing my albums. And trying to go through and trying to archive as many as I could. And until I most recently got this HP NV23 a while back, all in one.
Very nice system. Yeah, I like it a lot.
It is a nice system. The only problem is, and I didn't realize this till I bought it, that it has a single pin jack that is supposed to be input-output.
Oh, yeah. Everybody does that now.
Yeah, and I can't get it to work. I mean, if I can sort of get the audio in with using a USB, using a Behringer.
That's a better way to do it, by the way.
Okay.
So let me explain what's happening. So you want to record, you're playing back sound.
Yes.
And you want to record it. What you're doing is, I presume you're playing it back on a CD player, and you're taking the audio out of the CD player. You're converting.
A turntable, actually.
Oh, okay. Well, then it is analog.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, a couple of problems here. First of all, the output of the turntable is what we call unbalanced. It's not suitable for plugging into the computer.
Right.
You have a preamp?
I run it out of a mixer, a little mixer that's got a preamp in it.
You do need a preamp because that will then give you balanced sound. So what you have there, that whole chain is analog. Because the record, that's one of the things people like about vinyl is it's analog. I mean, it jiggles the needle in the same way that the sound pressure jiggled it when the guy was talking into the microphone.
Right.
It's pretty, if you think about it. It's kind of amazing. It works at all. So when you plug that into the analog jack, that actually works fine if you can get it to work. But you get noise introduced by the connection. It's not an ideal connection. So the other way to go is to use, and also, by the way, you then have to convert the bits to the sound to bits, and you use that with an analog to digital converter. Yeah. And the one in your computer may not be as good as the Behringer or some external device. Plus, it will eliminate sometimes any audio issues because you're going digitally into the computer, so there's no noise issues from radio interference and things like that. So you might get better results. I generally prefer to do it that way. Although since you're going analog, it's analog in. Yeah.
Well, the USB works in terms of getting the signal in. The only problem with that is no matter what I seem to do in the audio control panel, I can't monitor what I'm playing. Which is...
What are you recording it with? Are you using something like Audacity or...
I've tried it with Audacity. I also like Audio Cleaning Lab.
Okay.
Magic.
That's designed to kind of do exactly what you're doing and clean it up and cut it up into tracks and then record it.
Yeah. And like I say, it used to work with my Dell and whatnot.
What doesn't work? Is you just not hearing it at all?
Not hearing it at all, but working with the USB, except I can't monitor it no matter what I check, uncheck.
I see.
That I guess I could live with the USB, although once you plug that in, then it changes preferences and then you have to change it all back when you're done.
I know. So when you use the analog jack, what happens?
Just nothing. No signal.
Yeah. Okay. That's because that jack is doing dual duty. It is both a microphone and speaker. And so you need the right plug for it. I would say go to a Radio Shack, except it's adios to Radio Shack. Yeah. Because you need the right kind of plug. You need a plug with 3 rings on it. And so that's why you're not hearing any audio. And everybody's done this now, a single jack for in and out. You're using probably an older mini jack that just doesn't know that.
You're right. As I look at it, I see it's 2-ring.
Yeah, you want 3 rings.
Yeah, I guess I don't think I have tried that possibility. That's at least something to go on.
That would be simpler. And the truth is, what you're doing, and you should just listen to the quality. And if you think the quality is the same, do it the easier way. What you're doing is in one case you're having the Behringer convert it to bits, in the other case you're having the HP convert it to bits, and it may be that doesn't make any difference.
Right. Yeah, if I could get it to work with the pin jack, like I used to have it, I just left it plugged in, and whenever I wanted to.
Yeah, that would be the easiest for you.
Yeah.
And then you can monitor it. Although the chat room's telling me that if you go to audio properties, you can click monitoring on. That probably is for Audacity, but most programs will allow you to monitor, but you have to say so in the specifically in the preferences.
Well, that's what drives me crazy. I do check that box.
Okay.
And it still does. I don't know what, but anyway, I do want to try this pin.
Get the right mini jack. You should be able to do it. You want one design. Those are designed for what most people use them for, which is headsets for Skyping. So the headset has a microphone and earphones and a 3-ring plug that plugs into that the connector, that mini jack, and then the microphone goes to the right place and the headphones come from the right place. And your little 2-ring is not designed the same way, so you need a 3-ring.
I'll bet you that's it.
I bet you that's it.
Great. You are the best.
Well,
Leo.
it's my guess anyway. Thank you, sir. I appreciate it. Take care, Dave.
You
All
too.
right. Hey, just curiosity. What are the records? What kind of music?
Oh, I've got I don't know, a couple thousand records and a lot of vintage jazz, 20s and 30s jazz, a lot of.
So I presume you're recording them as uncompressed waves, but I would suggest if you're doing this, to when you compress them, not to use a lossy compression like MP3 or AAC.
Yeah.
Use FLAC.
Yeah.
Because then it will save all the bits.
Yeah.
And that's future proofing it.
Yeah, and it's part of it is just I'm not getting rid of the records. I guess I don't know. It's one of those things. I guess I'm leaving it. For my
keep them.
To deal
Keep
with
them. Yeah, let them deal with it. There'll be a great garage sale when you're gone.
Exactly.
But, I know it's depressing, isn't it? You think of all this stuff you've spent a lifetime collecting, and it's just garbage for your children.
It really is someone else's problem at some point, isn't it?
That's just a cruel joke on us all. Somebody's telling me it is a 4-ring jack. What you need to do is an audio store will know what to do. You need the right connector is the key.
Oh, so it might be a 4-ring.
Yeah, I think 3 rings might end up giving you, I don't know. You got to get the right connector.
Yeah, okay. So that it will differentiate the microphone.
One might be mono. You don't want to do mono.
Right. Okay.
All right.
Very good.
Good luck.
Great.
All right. Thank you, my friend. Take care, Dave. Right. Cindy in Temecula, I think the last call of the day. I got a minute left. Maybe I can help you. What can I do for you?
Hi. Thank you for taking my call.
Sure.
And you're amazing. I'm trying to find out how to set a missed call or missed voice message on my phone, my iPhone 5S.
So you want to get an alert for that?
Yeah, I get an alert if I miss a text message, but I don't get an alert if I miss a phone call or a voicemail. The only way to know is to actually pick up the phone. So I can't put the phone
That's
down.
annoying. It does have a badge, though, doesn't it, on the call thing, a little number of missed calls?
A little red number, but that means
But you'd like it to go, bzz, you just missed a phone call.
Yeah, I have a business where I get random phone calls all day long from customers.
Hang on, because we have to stop today. But just hang on. I'll take you off the air. Hey, thanks, everybody. Nathan Staten, our musical director. Heather Hammond, our phone ranger. Thanks to you for being here. Leo Laporte, have a great Geek Week. I think it's 3 rings. Left, right, mic, but I could be wrong. Anyway, sorry about that. I'm still here, and I will continue to try to help.
You're well worth waiting for.
I know it takes a long time to get to me.
And just for the record, I have the same volume issues with my 5C, and I will never buy another iPhone. There's just so many functions that it doesn't have that are critical to me. But the Android did have.
Yeah, because Android will notify you about missed calls.
Oh yeah, it will. I can even set the tone of the alert so I can differentiate between missed call or missed text.
So the chat room is telling me that this is a feature in accessibility. So this is something. Have you looked in there?
Yeah, I have, and I even went to the iPhone store, the Apple store here in town, and they looked for it and couldn't find it. But
you can make the light. You can make the light flash. Somebody's saying to me. I don't know if that's the Sybil says.
Right, but you still have to go retrieve the.
You want a notification.
Right, I drive a taxi, and by the way, if you ever want a taxi ride, it's on me.
And next time I'm in Temecula, I'm going to say, what's the company, Cindy?
Well, it's called At Your Service.
At Your Service. I like it.
And our goal is to change the stereotype of taxi drivers. We have clean cars. They run properly. We speak English.
I like it.
We don't sit you in the back and pretend you're not there. I even carry candy and snacks and cold water in my car.
This is like a limo service for a cab.
Yeah.
For the price of a cab.
I want my customers to know that they matter.
So the chat room is saying it's in notifications that there is a way to have a notification for missed calls. I don't have an iPhone in front of me, so I can't check.
Yeah, the notification they're talking about is not an audio notification.
Oh, you want an audio? I thought you wanted a pop up on the screen. You want an audio notification?
Yeah, like an alert. Like when I get a voice text message, it beeps that has sound. Because if
yeah. So what you do? So it's a little bit not where you think it's going to be. It's in notifications, and there is a iPhone notification. I'll put a link at techguylabs.com. But there's an iPhone notification, and then once you get to that, you will see the full thing. You can show a notification center. You can have a notification sound. You can have a badge. You can show on lock screen. They have the full complement. You're running iOS 7 or 8?
I think it's just 7 because when I bought it, it was on 6.
Yeah.
And I updated to 7. And
yeah, this is there, and you can have any sound. You can have it go, "Hey, Cindy, there's a call. You missed a call, Cindy." So I think that you can. I think, in fact, if you record that, you can have it. So I think that you can do this. It's in settings, notifications, phone.
Okay.
See,
I was going to
it's not where you'd think it is exactly. You'd think it's in the phone settings. It's in the notification settings, and that's something I've always found confusing about iOS. It's in the notification settings.
Because if I miss a phone call and I don't call back,
no, that's business.
Taxi on the
that's right
on the Google.
That's right,
and it's critical.
Okay.
So,
hey, I got to run, Cindy, because I got to do a promo. But thank you, and try that.
Thank you so much, and I am so grateful that you're on the air.
At your service, Cindy.
At your service.
Take care. Bye-bye. Well, that's it for the Tech Guy Show for today. I'm Leo Laporte. Thank you so much for joining us. Don't forget, the Tech Guy is just the tip of the iceberg. We do nearly 30 shows now on the Twit Netcast Network, and you'll find them all at twit.tv. We talk about Windows on Windows Weekly, Macintosh on Mac Break Weekly, iPad on iPad Today. You get your daily dose of tech news from Tech News Today, and our weekly roundtable show, This Week in Tech. It's all at twit.tv. And I'll be back next time with another great Tech Guy podcast. Thanks for joining me. See you next time.